Hey, what's up, guys? I am Ben 10,000 YGO, your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh superhero, and joining me today is the one, the only, the myth, the legend, Slim YGO.
I got my own watch too, so we good to go.
But doesn't
What's going
play
on, you
much
guys?
Yu-Gi-Oh monsters though.
Uh, After a couple drinks, probably.
Ha
Yeah, okay, we become any monster we want to be.
There we go. Oh man. All right, I'm just gotta move that little. I don't know why I have a little Skype window that's like I
Oh,
have
it's all.
big screen you, and now I have little
No,
screen
I know.
me.
I got one too. I got one too. I can see myself.
So weird. Okay, so for the new people in the audience, this is my very casual interview series called Behind the Screen. We're gonna learn a little bit more about Slim behind the scenes, who he is as a person, and maybe if we're lucky, he'll give us his social security number and we can like rob him. I'm just kidding. That's a horrible idea. Don't do that. Don't worry. We won't ask you anything too personal, like my buddy Jesse on Team FTK likes to do on my streams. That guy, man, he's a savage. Anyway,
Yeah, it's all good.
so we were talking before the cameras were rolling about like all the different like newer cards we were testing and all the crazy stuff. So why don't you tell the audience what some of the stuff you've been thinking about playing with?
Man, I've been messing with everything. So I started streaming like when this whole coronavirus thing happened, and I didn't think I was actually gonna like continue with it, but I actually really grew to love it. So I've been testing so many random things. I've been messing with the new rock deck that I call it the Atom deck because I just
Yeah,
mispronounce it every time. Adamant, Scepter, blah 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 blah,
yeah,
whatever it's called. That
that's
deck
the
is insane. That deck
Synchro
is
Rock.
insane.
That's what I call it.
Like literally, like you could do so many plays with it. Like depending on what you play in your extra deck. Like I've had boards where you end on Crystal Wing, Appaloosa for 4. Sometimes you can get to Boral Savage. Like there's a lot of plays. Like you can make the Crystal Wing because of the level 6 Synchro monster. So that and a tuner becomes the Crystal Wing. So that's pretty crazy.
That's just
Um,
nuts. So
the way the
basically, go ahead.
the,
Sorry.
the deck kind of like spams, right, and then it
Mm-hmm.
excavates a lot. It's a lot of kind of like RNG, like you
Mm-hmm.
excavate, and if you're fortunate enough to hit any of the guys, but you can also stack a monster to your deck too, so that you guarantee it. So it's pretty crazy. I'm still learning it. I messed up with it a lot on stream, but that's why we play a lot of the decks on stream, like trying to learn them and fumble a
Yeah.
little bit and then pick
Well,
it back up again.
well, as you call it, the Atom deck. You know what I kind of hearken that deck to is just a better Sylvan deck.
Yeah. That's actually a good comparison because Sylvan did excavation and whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
And then
it's very good though. It's very good.
yeah.
Cody already won the first like one of the first online PPG tournaments with it.
Oh, that's wild.
So yeah, no, I was watching him play it on stream as well, and it was very it was insane. Like he's putting up these crazy boards like Appaloosa for 4, Boral Savage, like you've got so many negates. Like what's the opponent really supposed to do? So
Play old
I think
Spectre
that
Tyranno and just hit
there you go.
everything.
I think the deck has a lot of potential, though. I think that
Yeah.
deck it definitely has a lot of potential. You just got to learn
Absolutely.
it. Like, don't mess up with it like I do. You got to learn it. There's a lot of routes to go with it, so it can be a little tricky, but
Mm.
a little more practice, and I mean, probably get it down.
I did a video about the Atom deck like so long ago, like back when it was like still in the OCG, like it
Oh,
was
okay.
fresh announced, and I was playing with it on YGO Pro. Excuse me,
Yeah.
didn't mean to burp in the.
Oh, it's all.
We're disgusting men. It's okay. We do that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. They're used to it.
Oh man, but I was saying is like, and I was horrible with that deck. Like it's just
Hard to
awful.
play. It's hard to
Yeah.
play. I was messing up left and right.
Yeah, it's although like once you do learn some of the basic plays, you could do some gnarly
Yeah.
shit. And then you can get the samurai guy that searches you Nibiru.
Yeah, you could search Nibiru, you could search like whatever. I think like what changed the deck too is that we're in Master Rule 5, so you're not limited by your link arrows anymore. So I think that changed everything. Like that
Yeah,
changed
that made it,
everything.
like that made it 100 times better. It just
Yeah. But
so
that deck I think has a lot of potential. And then I was messing with Dragma as well. That new it's like an all light deck. So
okay.
that deck is disgusting. So what it does is it basically destroys your opponent's extra deck. It
Okay.
has the
So
ability
so is
to
Lithogasm the deck basically?
even better. So like I was messing with it today with Shadal's on stream, and basically what it does is so this is light monsters. You also play the Invoked engine, which is like one of my favorite engines in the game. So you play Alistair and friends.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
dirty.
So like literally what you do is they have this level 4 guy that like is the Stratos for the deck.
Mm-hmm.
If you they have this one guy that you search that you special when a monster from the extra deck is on the board, and if you have another Dragma monster, you negate a monster special summon from the extra deck. There's this other guy that you banish like an extra deck monster from your grave to special it. Then you send 2 monsters from your extra deck to the graveyard. Your opponent sends 2 monsters from the extra deck to the graveyard, and you could do that every turn. So the combo with it is to send a copy of Elder Entity NTSS.
Yes,
That card.
I see where this is
Yeah.
going.
And then you
now.
could send like Omega. You can send their own like boss monster. The one that's actually called Bastard. There's actually a card called Bastard in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I'm sure they're gonna change it here in the TCG.
But
its actual
bombs will throw in see fit.
its actual name though is called Bastard. Like you send that too, and that lets you search another Dragma card. So like the synergy with it is pretty crazy.
Okay, so would you say like, all right? So I mentioned this because I did this same video that we're doing right now. I did it with Invoked 101, and well, I guess it won't be a spoiler by the time this video comes out. I also did it with his partner, Angel of Alchemy.
Yeah. They're really big on the amino app scene.
Yeah.
For anyone that joined that.
Okay, well that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's a good little resource that a lot of people forget about. It's really forgotten about, but it's got a lot of people in there, a lot of members, and they just like you just post I post with a lot of my videos in there, and it just gives them more content to view from another resource, so it helps out somehow.
Well, that's cool. Well, I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyway, like I was saying, I lost my train of thought. Oh damn it, I lost it. Okay, so we were talking about the Dragma monsters, right?
Yeah.
And how, but I was saying like, so what I was gonna get is what I was talking about with those two is that the new this when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, from my perspective, it looks like when you want to win the game, you go 1 of 2 routes. You either go super plus on yourself, like for example, like say Triff with his pendulum decks and his like infinite negates on the board, right? So you go super plus on your side, or you go like the new Mermail route and you try to make your opponent lose all their advantage. Is Dragma somewhere in the middle between those two, or is it like it's one or the other?
So I didn't play a pure version of the deck because I was even looking. So every deck archetype has a group on Facebook, and there's a Dragma group. They started like last week. Yeah, but the thing is, like, there's very little information. There's just like a combo on Dueling Book. There's no like really set list. The only person who had a list up that I saw was Lithium. So I basically took his list and just played that today, like just to learn it, because he was talking about that while it's good, it is a little awkward. So it's one of those decks that like by itself it doesn't care about its extra deck, but with like Shaddolls and Invoke, like you care about your extra deck. But what's cool about it is you can summon your Macabre, your Construct, your Window, whatever, then do the Dragma stuff. Then you just can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. So it basically is kind of weird. Like it's able to take advantage of the extra deck and then take away your opponent's extra deck. And a lot of times, like having Winda, Macabre, and Dragma like is enough to win because you're destroying their extra deck. They're locked into one special summon, and you have Macabre for Omni Negate. So I kind of am starting to see like the synergy with it. I played about 4 games with it, so I'm starting to see like the synergy with it.
Oh yeah, and sorry if I yawn. You're not boring me. I'm just tired.
No, it's all good. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's one of those middle ground decks, I think, though. Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't feel as explosive, but I can see, like, where it could be, because I thought to myself, okay, do I want to go first? So I was watching his replays. He was going first, because you're trying to set that little combo up. But if you go second, like, you have Shaddol Fusion, you have El Shaddol Fusion, you have all your Invoke stuff, so you have so many ways, and you also play this Predaplant guy that you could actually search Super Poly.
Huh.
When it's sent to the graveyard, so you send it off of that one guy's effect that sends extra deck monsters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you see, when you send the extra deck monsters, they trigger. Like the Shaddolls trigger, the Elder Entity triggers. Omega has an engrave effect. Like there's a lot of effects that like you get extra value when they're sent to the graveyard. So
okay.
I think it's just got to be.
I imagine that they'll probably get used with the Herald too. Probably some ritual.
Potentially, yeah, potentially.
That's interesting. And then before we were talking about when I was talking about the fossils before the camera was rolling. From my experience, it looks like the fossils want to go second because you really, to get the maximum value out of your cards, you need your opponent to do things.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things in the fossil deck is like all the fusions require a specific like level. Like okay, so like the level 4 fusions both require a level 4 or lower monster. A rock plus whatever X level basically for each one. And then they basically their fossil fusion is miracle fusion. But
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, but you got to use one from your grave and one from theirs. Now you can use one from both, but if you use one from their graveyard, you get a bonus, and the bonus is the fusion monster can't be targeted by card effects.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah, no, that kind of reminds me like low key of like kind of how Invoke plays. Like you usually want to use your opponent's graveyard, but sometimes it doesn't
Yeah, you
line up
just
element wise.
yeah.
But you have the option to, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and in this case, it's instead of elements, it's all about the levels.
Okay, okay.
So
So I mean,
basically, yeah. Go
is
ahead.
there one of like every level?
Basically, the fusions are all are 2, 4, 6, or not 2, 4. They're 4, 6, 8. Excuse me. Uh,
Okay.
and the basically the way it works is like the level 4s want level 4 and lower. The level 6 wants 5 and 6, and then of course 8 wants 7 and up.
Okay, okay.
So all the way from but the thing is the other monster has to have a level. So you can't use links, you can't use exceeds.
Okay.
As
I
the,
mean,
so that's
I
kind of
think
their weak
four
spot.
four is the most like universally played number, I would think.
And
I'm
then
pretty sure like it would be still live.
yeah, and then and the 4s actually aren't that bad. Like they both have all of the fusion monsters have unique effects when they die, because if they get sent to the graveyard by battle or card effect, you basically the higher levels will search you the fusion spell from the graveyard, so they'll give it back to you so you can use it again. And then the level 6 one pops something, but that's an activate. That's not a quick effect. But that's something you manually do on your own.
Okay.
So, but that's okay. I mean, having the ability to go, okay, well, I'm just gonna break through skill, pop something, basically.
Yeah.
Pop something.
I
And
think
then,
I think any of the going second decks just have a lot of potential. Like I think a lot like the game shifted a lot like in the last couple of years where like going second like I used to never play going second. I mean I played back in the day like every deck I played ever was going first. Like I played
yeah,
Dino Rabbit, I played Dark World, I played all these old decks, I played Agents, I played like everything and all these decks wanted to go first. I never heard of a deck that wanted to go second like ever
Dragon
until
Rulers and
Dragon
Lightsworn.
Dragon Ruler. Yeah, no, same thing. Like Dragon Rulers were broken. Lightsworn, like every deck just wanted to go first, and
Yeah,
then
and throw out some like ridiculous
yeah,
whatever. Like, because I mean, come on, in Dragon Ruler format, remember when Draco Sack was like just busted?
yeah. You tried to end on double Draco Sack reju for 1,000,000. Your opponent's like you max see them, the game's over. Like literally, that's how the game was
Yeah,
because they would have to commit so much. You have double Draco Sack, triple tokens because you could pop one of the tokens, so you'd have 3 of them. So you have triple tokens. Like it was just that was the ideal board.
yeah, and then like I think Regeki wasn't legal right then. I don't think.
I
And
don't think
Dark
it
Hole
was.
was at one.
No.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you like tried to dark hole them, though, the Draco Sacks didn't go anywhere. The tokens would
Yeah,
just die.
the
for
tokens
them.
would go, and then you'd have to deal with the Draco Sack. So yeah,
And,
so no.
and they were big, so like the only thing that you really could do was try to throw a big monster at it and hope.
Hope it connects. Yeah, pretty much.
kind of.
But yeah, no, I like all these going second decks. There's a lot of decks this format. Like if they can play first and second, like I think they're one of the best decks. Like dinosaurs, like we talked about it earlier. Dinos could go first. Dinos could go second and just break your whole board and win. I like Mech Knight Invoke. Like Mech Knight struggles to go first, but if you draw Alistair, at least you have a play.
Yeah.
But any of these decks that go second, you have a 6th card, so you have an extra card, and you just start breaking boards. It's just like you break a board, and if you now with Cross Sheep, like I think it made it to where making board. I summoned Boral Sword so many times now. Like I used to never summon it. It was one of the most underutilized cards in my deck, and now it's probably the most utilized card in my deck. So it's insane. It's insane. Like it's insane how like ridiculous one little card release can just change a deck, or can just make a deck like insane. So
I mean, I on a lesser extent because I'm a budget player, so like I can't afford cards like Boral Sword, but to a lesser extent to what you're talking about, like when Pankratops or Fairy Tale Snow came out, those cards were budget and they were like
common.
common.
They were commons, yeah.
Commons, but they're game breaking cards. Like
Yeah.
Pankratops ended up in every side deck. Every mill deck used Fairy Tale Snow. And
Snow is broken. I miss that card. That card was so broken. Thunder's broke that, unfortunately.
I honestly think it could come
So
back.
I think like if it did, like I don't know. I mean, I think just people just don't want grass to come back. I think as long as grass doesn't come back, we're good.
Yeah, I don't think Fairy Tale Snow and Grass could exist in the same format.
Be very disgusting.
Yeah, I think either one is fine. Like either you bring back grass or you bring back Fairy Tale Snow. I don't care which one. Just
Yeah.
just keep it kind
But
of even
yeah,
keeled.
when Snow went though, the reason why Snow got banned though was because of freaking Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons
Yeah, that was
ruined
your
that
fault.
card. Like
That was
they
your fault,
straight up.
Slim. I'm
Oh my
blaming
god,
you.
that deck was broken. Like holy crap! The last time I played with Snow, I played the Gumblar hand loop deck. You looped your all
Oh.
6 cards, all 6. It wasn't even a joke. Like you
Ooh.
literally went Levianeer, Diabolos for 2, Gumblar for 2 more, and then you special on your opponent's turn and Gumblar them again. So you hit all 6.
Oh
It was
god.
the most. I was playing at locals and I did it to one guy, and then the ban list came out, and I was just like, oh well, better finish out this locals, or we're never gonna have to do this again. And Gumblar and Snow went in the binder. It was.
Bro, you were
Well,
like
had full
you're the
charge, too.
guy, dude, playing that play. You're the guy I'd have called you a scumbag on YGO Pro, and then I would have just let the timer run out and walked away.
No, it was crazy though, cause like I tested it on YGO Pro too, and like it was just broken. Like on average, you were looping at least 2 to 4 cards, so it didn't matter. Like your opponent was losing so much advantage.
I bet you got a lot of rage quits, didn't you?
Well, not only that, it's like you could also play. You were playing Colossus, so in addition to losing most of your hand, you're staring down a giant Colossus. Like, what are you gonna do?
Oh god, flip the table. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah. Right?
Just or you're gonna click X and let them have lost connection.
No, but nah, I mean, I don't know if Colossus will ever come back. I'm so sad, but I did pick up Thunder Dragons again. That's why everyone was going out of their mind. They were like, "What?"
Actually, you know what? Thunder Dragons are. I'm still going. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit. Like I have some of the cards.
Have you seen the new build though? The new build is actually pretty crazy.
I was just thinking about trying like a chaos variant type of thing.
It is. It is pretty much like that. I uploaded it a couple days ago, and it's basically Andres Torres put up a build on the TCG collectibles page. It's in Spanish, so for anyone who doesn't speak Spanish, it's kind of hard to understand. You just kind of gotta follow like his motions of what he's talking about, because I couldn't understand it, but I could understand, like, I saw the deck list. I was like, okay, I gotta learn how to to play it. So basically the new game plan is you make a Union Carrier.
Oh, okay.
And then you summon like a Levianeer or a Duo or whatever you want, like any of those guys. Mm-hmm. And what you do is, if you can end on Titan, you have options to do that too. But the goal is to do Union Carrier, summon either Duo or any dark monster basically, and then you use Union Carrier's effect to activate from your deck or your hand the Buster Destruction Sword.
Yeah, I know.
And it gives it 1,000, locks your opponent out of the extra deck. So if you have, like, the best board I had put up was Union Carrier, an IP Masquerena. For interruption, I had Titan, and I had Levianeer that had ripped a card from the opponent's hand, and I had it equipped. So basically, they're down 1 card. They can't go into the extra deck until they deal with the sword, and then you have Titan for interruption. So,
damn.
And then once their turn's over, you kill them next turn if they don't clear the board. The only thing they can really kill is the Union Carrier, because it's weak, but that doesn't matter.
So at that point, it's basically like evenly matched or Kaiju or bust.
Yeah, I got even lead, I got lightning stormed, but it didn't matter because Titan protects itself. Mm-hmm. So Titan can stay alive, and then Titan's interruption is still pretty good if they don't have a way to interrupt your interruption.
Do you generally like equip the Buster to the Titan? Generally?
No, because the Buster has to be equipped to a dark monster because it's dark.
Oh, okay, so that's the rule. Okay, gotcha.
It's usually Duo or Levianeer. So what I noticed when playing the deck, I played the deck a lot, like especially on stream. Like the Duo was super important that you searched it. That you searched it off of dark.
Okay.
Because, or if you drew it, like, you're already good. If you basically, like, the name of the game was get to a Duo or get to a Thunder Dragon Fusion, get to enough advantage, and then put that on top of it. Because the opponent will think, okay, he's only playing Titan Turbo. Oh, okay, he's only playing Levianeer to rip a card from my hand, or, but then when you lock out their extra deck, it's even crazier. And then the trick is just make sure you don't put it in the same column just in case they're playing Mech Knights. Like, I just tell everyone do that, like, always play around Mech Knights.
Actually, and the truth is, I do that all the time now. Ever since Mech Knights came out, now I find myself, always, trying to make sure that nothing's in the same column.
Yeah.
Actually, what's funny is this is the first video like this that I've been making where we've talked this much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, all the other ones have always been, like, on the other aspects of it. Like, maybe, like, the tournament scene, like, or travel, that kind of thing. Like,
I've been to so many damn events. Like, that's the thing is, like, it feels so weird. Like, we were supposed to have YCS Pasadena here in my backyard, and Johnny was supposed to come, Asian Persuasion, and our boy James was supposed to come. Basically, my 3v3 team was coming, and they were going to stay with me for like a week. And unfortunately, because of what's going on in the world, we had to cancel that. But I mean, we'll reschedule it when this chaos is lifted. So
Speaking on that,
yeah.
I've been meaning to ask, how are you handling it? I know you're kind of
Uh,
a social person, at least
so
compared to me anyway.
So yes and no. Like as I get older, like I notice like I kind of like being at home, to be honest. Like the only thing I really was going out for was it was like simple stuff. Like if I had to go to work, or if I wanted to go to locals, or if I had to go grocery shopping or the gym, or just little things like that. Or
Yeah.
if I was to take my girlfriend out or something, we're gonna go get food, or all the real basic stuff. But I came to realize you can kind of do all of that even at home, which is it's
Yeah.
a little weird, but I don't these days. I don't mind being a homebody. There's plenty of entertainment to watch. That's how I turned into a streamer.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of just sit there all day. So it's kind of like, all right, what do I do? I also go to school online. So I mean, I still have work to do in addition to everything else. So
Mhm.
I kind of got used to just being at home, being on my computer. I don't think it's that bad. I think the people that it's really affecting are the people that just don't like being at home, that don't like being a homebody, that don't really like watching TV or or streaming or doing anything like that. So
Mhm.
I personally have had no issues with it, and I mean I felt fine like through it. Like
Yeah, I haven't
you
gotten
know,
sick yet either. Of course, I
yeah.
haven't left the house probably going on 4 weeks now.
I
So
think like the biggest thing is just going out. Like when you go out, you wear a mask. You take the
wear your
precautionary.
gloves, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you do the precautionary means, and I mean I'm only going to the store for my essentials. I'm getting in, I'm getting out. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to. You're not trying to dilly dally there. Like if you see a lot of people, like places like Costco and stuff like that, are like they're really hard to go to because there's so many people, and I mean have lines through the like past like other stores like trying to get in. So I just go to really simple stores to get like my basic stuff.
My family's been using what we've been doing is we've been using like the Walmart
Oh yeah,
pickup thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. No,
basically,
I
we
went
don't
to
even go in
Walmart
the
too.
store.
Walmart's busy too, but I mean, it just depends. There's a lot of factors, like the time of day you go, like all those things
Mhm.
matter. So, but I mean, me, I'm kind of crazy, so I just don't care. Like I'll go outside. Like it's still sunny in California. It's like I'll still go outside as long as I have my mask, as long as I have my stuff. I keep to myself. I'm very, very like
Mhm.
I get in the store, I have my list of things I'm getting, and I'm in and I'm out, and that's it. Like
I got you.
I
Well,
think that's the best way.
we've only had one case so far here in my small town in Texas. So
That's good. That's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So far we've only had one, and that person wasn't even from here. They were from Fort Worth. That's
Oh, okay.
House of Champs area.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay.
So
So that's
they
good
would
though. But yeah.
yeah. So
I've personally been fine though. Like my advice to anyone is if you really like, there's always something to do. Like Project Ignis, like changed everything. I'm gonna tell you
yeah.
right now, that thing changed everything.
Yeah, that I'm not gonna lie, that thing could not have come out at a better time. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if they did that. There's no way they did that on purpose,
No, no, no.
but
I mean, a lot of people didn't understand, like, because when you search like Project Ignis, like you'll see my video, you'll see some other videos. Some are done in like different languages or whatnot. But like what I even explained in mine was that YGO Pro, the servers were shutting down. Like it happened to me on stream.
mhm.
I was trying. We built the decks. We built the decks, no problem. Try to go play. No one's coming in. No one's coming in. It keeps failing to connect, failing to connect. And I'm like, okay, my internet's not that bad because my stream is clearly working.
Mhm.
And then someone in the chat literally said, "Hey, YGO Pro's shutting down. Do you know about Project Ignis?" And of course, I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" He sends me this whole thing, and then literally I download it, and then the next day, like the new stream is on that. Like it was actually crazy, like how smooth that program was. Like I'm
Yeah,
still
it was.
floored by it.
Yeah, like it is super clear. All right, so used to when I would do um, my YGO Pro videos, yes, I would maximize the whole box for the screen, right? That's
Yeah,
what you do in your screen recording.
yeah,
But it would for YouTube it was fine. People could see the
yeah.
cards because on YouTube the box is going to be like it is when it's for us looking at it normally.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now with Project Ignis, when we blow it up big, the images are still super clear and it's
Yeah, yeah.
awesome.
Not only that, as I was a little confusing in the beginning, like you didn't have to know how to scale it. I told everyone scale it to 200 or something like that. That way you can see everything clear. But I love everything about it. Like I usually was annoyed by the sound effects. Even on YGO Pro, I played all my games in silence just because it was so annoying. But I absolutely love the updated like sound effects. Like when you attack, you hear the sword. The
Oh,
mute,
I didn't even hear it. I didn't. I muted it automatically, so I don't even
no, dude,
know.
you actually got to play. It's actually pretty nice. Like the music isn't even that bad. I don't really play with music just for whatever reason, but like even their music tracks are kind of relaxing compared to like the kind of chaotic ones that YGO Pro had. But no, they did a lot of things right. I think the test hand feature is
Oh
ridiculous.
god,
That became one of the best.
that is
Yeah,
oh my god, that feature alone.
yeah.
Oh
No,
my
it
god.
was crazy. It was crazy because that's what we were doing. Like with all these decks I've been trying to learn on stream, I just test hand them first before I go into the servers and make an ass of myself. So, but I mean, you just kind of learn like how to do it. Like that's how I did Thunders. And as soon as I figured out how you did the Union Carrier play, I mean, I already knew Thunder Dragons, and I mean, Thunder Dragons hasn't changed. Like it hasn't changed in the sense that all the monsters still do the same exact thing. You just have to prioritize other cards. Like that's basically
Right.
what happened with the deck. So
Yeah, you just sometimes it's just a shift of strategy. It's like with the best I can explain with that one is like with Dragon Rulers because that was the deck.
oh
that I
yeah,
did it with.
I love
Because
Dragon Rulers. Yeah.
well, but by the time I got it, see, here's the thing: when Dragon Rulers came out, everybody was playing the whole like Super Raju, Big Eye,
Yep.
Draco
Yep.
Zack,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I
The
went-
Nationals deck. It was
Yeah.
literally the Nationals deck. You had to
Yeah.
play that deck at Nationals if you even wanted a shot.
right. Well, I was early on was just playing the Synchro build because I couldn't afford Big Eye and Draco Sack back then.
Yeah, they were so expensive.
They were uber expensive. Yeah.
Oh no, dude! I was borrowing two Big Eyes. I owned two Draco Sacks, and then my friend got me a third. Like literally, like pulling that deck together was a group effort. Like
Yeah.
my boy literally mailed me the rejuves, like all these, because no one knew where to find Super Rejuve because it was
Yeah.
so old, right?
Right.
And like they were all sold out, they were all overpriced, like you couldn't find them anywhere. But he
Like,
had them.
Didn't that common like hit like what $11 or something at one point?
It was like he
Something
played it in
like
like it was like Dragon Draw Exodias where the card first originated from. So like
Yeah.
if you weren't around during those days, like you didn't know what it was from if you didn't play Dragon cards. So it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I think the reason I got it at all was because back in the day, me and my friends bought the Red Eye structure deck, and I think it came in that. If I recall
Oh, okay,
right.
okay.
So
Yeah, maybe. I'd have to
that's-
double check. But...
I don't remember, and I did the structure deck war. So what does that tell you?
Oh, I love that. That was fun. You should think about doing it again. Like the structure deck wars now is even easier for you because of Project Ignis.
I
You don't
know,
have to build it. You
they're
don't have to
all in
build
there.
it. You don't have to build a single deck. You literally just pick the people to pilot it. Like it's crazy.
I might redo it again. One of the things I want to do at a later date with it, and maybe when I get a little bigger and can get maybe my audience in on it, is I would love to do like a tournament style thing with it, and just have like all the audience members that are involved in that said tournament just pilot the decks.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead
No,
of-
you could
instead of
definitely do
me.
that. Yeah, you could definitely do that. You get people to play it out, and then like you can commentate the match and
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
see like what their thought process was. Because like when you gave me the Dino deck, like I knew the Dino cards, but then it was like, okay, what else can I do with this, this, and this? You know what I mean? So you learned a lot through the process.
And yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And I've actually, as funny as like when I played all these different structure decks, it was like very I don't know. It's kind of an educational experience because I had to play structure decks that I wasn't familiar with.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Like I'm glad my options were narrowed down to those two because I kind of knew those ones.
Yeah.
I knew the Dino one a little bit more, but like the other decks, like now, like you can add more stuff. Like the Shadal deck changes everything. Like that structure deck's crazy.
Common super polys that everybody has access to. I was like,
Yeah, and you can just OTK your opponent so fast. Like you can literally El Shadal Fusion Super Poly in the same turn, and they just like lose. So
yeah. Oh god, it's so. Actually, you know what's funny is I did a similar play with the fossil deck, very similar because a lot of the fossil fusion monsters can attack twice.
that's okay. That's
Yeah.
broken. You can OTK so fast then.
Yeah, so you're one of your I think one of your level 4 guys is like 2,500 or something, and then there's
Okay.
and then no, not him. No, I'm sorry, I'm confusing him. It's the Skull Knight is that fusion, and he's level 6. My bad. He's 2,400, but if he kills a monster in battle, he gets to swing again. Well, the
Okay.
Skull King, which is the level 8, which is like the bigger version of him, just gets to attack twice anyway. So I actually beat a Dino player by using Called by the Grave to get rid of the babies, so they couldn't pop off. So he just had I think he just had an Oviraptor on the field, and I just
They just punch
punched. Yeah,
with everything, and it's just game. Yeah.
pretty much. He just went I'm pretty sure if that Dino player would have been talking to me, he'd have been cussing me out.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, if you're not, if you see how a game is gonna go, mute your opponent because it's not gonna be pretty.
Although, and to be fair, it's like, it's not like I'm unfamiliar with the dinosaur deck, because that's,
Exactly.
my primary deck, so I
Yep.
know where all
Yep.
the kinks in the armor are.
Exactly. Yeah, but no. There's a lot of decks. Like, even though we don't have any in real life events, like, at least like you can test out all the decks online. Like, I think the ability to play the new decks online just changes everything. Like, you're still able to prepare for events even though there are no events right now.
Well, I mean, there's online events.
Yeah, it's just not the same though. Like, I think the only silver lining for any of this was that if you got your invite for 2020, it carries over to 2021.
That was a smart move on Konami.
I'm glad it does, because having to try again, it sucks, man. Like, in Cali, we have like 10-round regionals. I'm not trying to do that again.
Yeah, oh my
Too much
god,
work.
y'all are wild. Your regionals are like a YCS in Texas, man.
Man, they take forever.
Yeah, I don't even want to attempt it. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't even travel outside of my state because I don't have the money to do that. But even if I did, man, like California might be the one event I would go. That's okay. I'm good.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. I'll tell you right now. Our locals are crazy. Our regionals are crazy. Our YCSs are like everything. Like, but it makes you really good. Like, it makes you really good because you get your ass beat enough that you kind of like, do I want to keep getting my ass beat or do I want to get better? So.
Or if you're someone like me who's innovative, like, and does prefer rogue decks, you really start to think outside the box.
You kind of have to.
Yeah. But it's I'm not gonna lie though, it is a really interesting, like for example, I've been a Lightsworn player for a long time, and I remember when I was playing like Dragon Ruler Lightsworn with
That's
Eclipse
one of my
Wyvern.
favorite decks. I love that deck. The deck was broken. For those of you that don't know, that deck was freaking insane. Any deck that lets you play triple Eclipse Wyvern and Surge Judgment Dragon is broken. Like, that deck is broken.
I was keeping up with Shadal's, Burning Abyss, and Monarchs, and like all of those crazy ass decks. I was keeping up with my Ruler Sworn, like just keeping up with them.
Deck was insane. Like, I remember ever since the Lightsworn structure deck came out, it was way before Minerva even existed.
Yeah.
Like, this played Light Ray Diabolos. Like, this deck was so. It was asinine, like, to be honest. Like, I remember playing it. I played it at locals in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. And I remember I got top 4 with it. I was, like, the only Lightsworn player. And, like, I had sighted Soul Release. So I played 3 mirror matches, and I Soul Released all of them. Like, and then you didn't realize, I can't actually play if you Soul Release me. Like, there were, like, little texts you could find left and right. But that deck was absolutely insane. Like, searching Judgment Dragon, milling Eclipse Wyvern, banishing Judgment Dragon, then summoning a Dragon Ruler, and searching the Judgment Dragon to your hand was just not fair. Like, it was not fair.
And the funnest part for me was like the way, like, I played, like, I didn't play Daedalus, I played Light Ray Diabolos, or maybe you did say Diabolos, I don't remember.
It was rare. I just remember it was a rare.
Yeah, it was the Light Ray Dragon. That's what it was.
Yeah. It was like level 7 or level 8. It was one of those guys.
And he was just basically he was almost like another Dragon Ruler / Judgment Dragon.
Yep.
It was fucking wild. But the whole thing was like, oh man, I remember I used to, like, I would go, like, get a Dragon Ruler, banish the Eclipse, and I don't remember which dragon. I think I used Redox Title in because you're only supposed to play 3. I remember that.
It was
that was kind of the rule. You didn't play all 4. You played 3.
You didn't play title. You played
okay. You played
Redox, Blaster,
Tempest.
Redox, and Tempest. Yeah.
I see. It's been a while. Oh man, I miss those days. It's not the same having one Dragon Ruler back. It's not.
And I mean, they might eventually come back to one. I mean, it'd be interesting if they do, because I mean, a lot of decks like Salamangreat would benefit from Blaster, Infernoid would benefit from Blaster. Like, even the decks that have Tempest, like Tempest is using the Dragon Link deck and in Dragonities. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, a Title would be beneficial for Water, I think.
Oh, Water's already crazy. Like, if Water gets Title, like, it's gonna be even worse. Like, that deck is nuts. Like, if you're a good pilot, like, I tried to play it on stream the other day, and I suck with that deck. Like, the reason why I suck with that deck is I hated that deck when it came out. I was playing Macro Rabbit, so that should tell you all you need to know. I didn't want to play against Water. I was the dude that was summon Logia, set. I think we could still draw 6. Yeah, summon Logia, set 5, during your standby plays, flip macro, go. You can't play. Game over.
Yeah, look at your opponent and flip them the bird, right?
Like literally, like it was broken. Oh, you got heavy storm, cool. Game. Yeah, pretty much. No, pretty much. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. Mermail was broken. Like I had respect for that deck. I just didn't want to play against it. Like having macro is insane.
I think back then, I think I was playing the Heratic deck at the time.
Oh, Heretics was nice. I like that deck too.
Yeah. Although mine was so bad. Like I was playing the all right, so this is before the Dragonolers came out. So I was playing, I always had kind of a thing for fire dragons. I don't know why. Yeah. I can't explain it. Yeah. Like before Blaster, my favorite monster was Tyrant Dragon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
I remember that card, that old ultra rare.
Yeah. Well, long story short, I played my Heratic version, and I had Yamadron and Tyrone 2.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. As the vanillas that would come out off of the Heratic, yeah.
Right, but they were both fire, and they were the worst ones. And I remember when I filled out the deck list for the tournament where I actually interviewed you for the first time.
Yeah.
At that tournament, the guy who looked at my deck list asked if Yamadron was a real card.
Yeah.
He was like, "Is this a real card?" I'm like, "It's a vanilla dragon. Yeah, it's from the McDonald's pack." And he's just in there like,
"Oh, that's why."
And he's just sitting there going, he's looking at my list like,
he's like, "What is this?" Yeah.
Yeah, he's over there like really giving me the look. He's like, "I'm gonna trust that it's a real card." I'm like, okay.
I've had my fair share. Like when I've turned in deck lists, like I'll never forget when I played the World FTK. Like I already had like 3 invites from like the season, but I was playing it just for fun. Mm-hmm. And I remember I showed it to the judge. The judge looks at me and he's like ready to beat my ass. He looks at me. He's like, he's my friend too. He's like, "You are not really playing this." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "We're probably gonna go 0-3 drop." We went X2, which was broken, dude. I was 1 win away from top 8, but it was retarded. He literally looks at me. He's like, he was watching me the whole day. He was just like, "You're such an asshole." Like, because like literally, like I skipped their turn. Okay, attack for game. Okay, go. They go first. I'm like, okay, cool. Summon a bunch of dangers. Make a wee witch. 1 punch for game. Like it was because you just pop all their cards, and it was just like, he's like, "What is this asinine shit?"
Speaking of 1 punch, when Fairy Tale Snow was a thing, my favorite combo with the Lightsworn deck then was I teched in 1 Grand Maju in there.
Oh my god, I love Grand Maju.
Yeah, you know where this is going already.
Oh god, yes.
Do you remember the Bujin Xyz monster that takes 3?
Amaterasu. Yeah.
Yeah. So for any of you guys who maybe weren't playing around that time, what you basically would do is you get 3 level 4s, and you just wouldn't care how much you're banishing off of Fairy Tale Snow. And eventually you probably would mill a Grand Maju. And you would banish it, and then you'd make Amaterasu.
And then you bring it back. And just 1 punch per game, yeah. Yep. I love that deck too. That's another going second deck that took me by surprise that I actually grew to love. I actually was the only person at my locals here in Cali that was playing the Grand Maju deck for so long that like it was just crazy. Like when the supers came out, they literally just handed them to me. They're like, "Here, upgrade your commons." I was like, "Oh my god, this card came a super!" Like the danger, because I love dangers. Like dangers are one of my favorite archetypes that ever got printed. They're ridiculous. I wish they weren't the contributors to FTKs, but like they're such an insane archetype. Like I could not believe what I was reading. Like I immediately thought about Dark World. Like when I read these cards, because I'm just like, they just like discard, draw, or discard, summon. Like they were so free. Like I'd never seen anything like it. Like I don't think there'll ever be another archetype similar to Dangers. Like they're insane.
Yeah, they are. And of course, like, and they're such a rich archetype in like not even just being good in the game, but in the stuff that surrounds it. Like they can go in a bunch of different decks. They can be their own deck if you want them to.
Yeah.
And the lore behind them is awesome. Like there's if you ever look into the history behind all of those things, they're all based off of like American legends basically. So,
yeah. It's like the kaijus are based off of like Godzilla, Loch Ness Monster, all that stuff. Yeah, I've seen all that. Like that's lore is like one of the one things I never really looked into, but certain ones I like to look into, like learning about Alistair, learning about all that stuff is pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Like, and that's the coolest thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! In my opinion is, like, you have guys like yourself who really just enjoy the game for the game, And then you have the other kinds of Yu-Gi-Oh people in the game who like it for all the other stuff that surrounds the
Yeah.
game. Like we have the anime, we have the manga. The cards have their own lore, like
Yep.
Marauding Captain and all that stuff. And then they have the lore that they're based on. So it's like you can also get a history lesson in kind
Yeah.
of into it. So
There's a lot. Like there's so many levels to the game that I think a lot of people just don't like pay enough attention to. Like even though like I don't really like play a lot of like casual decks, like even picking them up even on stream just to learn them, like you learn something in the process.
oh yeah,
Like I've learned to love decks that I only picked up because they beat my ass. Like everyone knows, like everyone is shocked. Like one of my favorite decks right now is actually Guru Control. And I hated the deck with an undying passion when I first played against it. Like I could not believe that, it was like they're playing with one monster and this one monster is literally kicking my ass with all its back row. When they told me that Final Battle reset itself, I like picked the card up I think like 3 or 4 times throughout the match and reread it, and I was just like, I was like, so this thing has 4 effects, like this is ridiculous. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think that's one of the scariest decks going forward because of Dragoon of Red.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, like I've been telling everyone about it. It's like probably the next deck I'm gonna have on my channel via Project Ignis, but it is utterly terrifying. Putting Ugh.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't like to play against Dragoon decks of any kind, especially because, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that when we get Dragoon, we'll get to play it the way OCG does.
I don't think so either.
Like I'm not trying to be mean to people who are hopeful to play the deck. I just am saying that like I just kind of know Yu-Gi-Oh's history. When we get it's like Dark Matter Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like remember when that came out, like they hit the Dragon Rulers like pretty much like,
Immediately.
the week after. So
There was 1 week with that deck. There was 1 or 2 tops with it, and it was retarded. Like
yeah, the guy won like instantly. It was nuts. And but the point that I'm trying to make is like that, and that I'm kind of feeling like history is about to repeat itself. So a lot of times I just won't play against Dragoon decks because I think that what's going to end up happening is they'll either ban Anaconda or they're going to ban Red Eyes Fusion, one of the two. And
I think I think they have to go. So people were saying that they put Verde to 1. Like the thing is with Red Eyes Fusion, like because I didn't know this, so we were under the impression that since for some reason Guru is a dragon. For people who don't know, Subterra Guru is a dragon.
What? No.
We thought that you could go Red Eyes Fusion, right, and just play the Dark Magician and have a Guru and you're good to go. But the ruling actually is, now I'm still trying to figure out why this is because I talk to people about this all the time. You are required to play Red Eyes Black Dragon. So even if you don't want to play both, you there is some ruling. I don't know how to fully explain it, but it might be in the wording of Red Eyes Fusion or something, or Dragoon of Red itself. Yeah. So you're basically, the thing is, you have to stick 5 cards in your main deck that weren't there before, as well as, depending on what deck you're playing. If you're playing an Extrav deck, you have to play 3 copies of Dragoon. And I even go as far as to play 3 copies of Verde Anaconda, because Verde Anaconda, I'm not gonna lie, is utterly insane. That card is broken. Like, that card is so insane. Like, being able to just, like,
Yeah, but you really have to get rid of one or the other to have Dragoon in here and not have Dragoon just take over everything.
Exactly. No, I think they'll do something with it, but like for the time being, like anyone's trying to play it online, like if they allow in the online tournaments for you to play Dragoon Red, I've looked at all the control decks that there are that you can play it with. Like there's Alter guys, there's Guru. I mean, obviously you're not gonna play a Mystic Mind, but like Guru's ability to play the way it does in tandem with Dragoon of Red is so ridiculous. So like you can start off with Dragoon of Red, right? If say you bait them with like Terraforming or Hidden Seed or whatever, like you get the Ash out of the way. You go Red Eyes Fusion, you make the Dragoon of Red. So you got a Dragoon of Red that's already in the gate. So I look at Guru as a puzzle. It's a 4-piece puzzle. It requires, and the field spell is just bonus. But you have field spell, Guru, Fiendus, and Final Battle. Any combination of that with Dragoon of Red, I really don't see how you lose because you have 2 negates, one being a Fiendus, one being a Dragoon of Red. You also have the quick effective Guru to flip a card face down. Like there are so many things. Like it makes it to be one of the most unfair matches. Like it's not even close. Like how like it scares the crap out of me even playing it because I look at my hand and I'm just like, when I started with Extrav, I banished 2 copies of Dragoons. There's still 1 in my deck. You only need 1.
Yeah, that's it. And then Dragoons by itself is just nuts. Like legitimately, they made a negator that is able to boost its own strength so it's even bigger, so it's even more impossible to beat over. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, can't be targeted and can't be destroyed.
I think like the effect that everyone like underlooks is also so that's 3 effects. So people don't know. So you already named 2 of them. There's a third effect that is bullshit, and I mean straight up bullshit because I won 2 games on stream with that effect by itself, and it's the burn effect.
Yeah.
If you use 2 vanillas, you can pop up to 2 monsters a turn, and your opponent takes damage equal to their attack.
Yeah. So it's like, oh look, there went at least half their life points. Like,
so you don't even have to go to battle phase to win with this deck. I think that's the thing that is ridiculous. Like it in Guru, it's disgusting because once you get that control going, that little loop going, not only so it's like you're dealing with one engine, then you're dealing with a boss monster. Same thing with Ultra Guys. Like imagine you have multi faker, silk, traps, negate, plus Dragoon of Red. Like there's so many. Like trap decks got a huge boost. Like if you even get to play that card in real life. In a trap deck similar, like it would have also been, I don't know if Paleozoic would have played it, I don't think so, but if Paleo was still like triple Toad and everything, like imagine having Toad plus Dragoon plus Paleo traps that actually do things, like it's disgusting, honestly.
I'll put it to you this way, I was playing I was working around with trying to figure out how to play my fossil deck that I'm going to be showing. I think, well, by the time this video comes out, it'll have already been out. But when I was doing that one, I got my butt kicked by a Cyber Dragon player who was playing Anaconda, Red Eyes, all that stuff. He was playing Cyber Dragons.
Cyber Dragons is interesting. Every time I played them, like even on stream and whatnot, you never really know like how the game is gonna go because like they can go first or second.
Yeah, but typically when you play Cyber Dragon, you think, okay, I want to go first, or they want me to go first. But no, I won the die roll, and I was like, nah, because fossils are going second deck.
Yeah.
He just threw it out there, and I'm just sitting there like dumbfounded.
They can do a lot of things, because like the beauty of Cyber Dragon, a lot of people forget is, yes, you have the vanilla level 5, well, it's not even vanilla, but I call it vanilla. The OG Cyber Dragon, the regular level 5, but because of cards like Core, cards like all their like level 1s or whatever those are, you can do that. You can machine dupe. You can link into All Mirage. All Mirage will open up a zone for you. You can still make Infinity. So I mean, them going first is not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah,
with Colossus gone, they like that's the thing is Colossus held that deck at bay because of how much searching they did. Like Colossus was broken against that deck. They couldn't pop it with Overflow. They couldn't do anything to Colossus or Titan or any of those cards. But now
the only thing they could have done was Mega Fleet, and that's only if it was in the extra monster zone.
Yeah, and a lot of times you weren't even trying to do that. You were trying to have a link monster and then get it down underneath it, and then being able to just like you didn't care if they took like your link monster. Like that didn't matter. Mega Fleet was still not big enough to kill Colossus, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. It's wild, man. Yu-Gi-Oh is like, and I kind of understand like why certain players kind of leave the game every now and then, especially like, all right, so we know that like Tyler, aka Yugi No, prefers to play goats, right? We know that.
Yeah, he loves it. Yep.
Him and we know that some players are just kind of like stuck in that era of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I can see why, because like we were just talking about with Cyber Dragons, used to back in the day, they only could go second. Now they can go first or second, and it's kind of, some people just can't keep up with the evolution, or some people are just more adaptable than others.
Exactly. I agree with that. And I think
and I don't think it makes them lesser than as Yu-Gi-Oh players. I think, like for example, like I'm confident that I probably could, if I was playing like my favorite deck versus maybe Yugi No Cyber Dragon, I might be able to like take the game because in this format, right? But if I went over to play goats with him, he's gonna kick my ass.
Yeah,
6 ways.
I haven't played goats in years. Like I remember the last time I was playing just for fun, and like I knew some of the plays, but I mean, it's been so long. Like I mean, that was a deck from 05, 04, 05. So I mean, it's really, really, really been a long time. Like since I played a deck like that. But no, I agree. I agree with the whole adapting thing. Like my whole thing has always been, if you want to keep playing the game, you have to learn to adapt. We've all had to learn to adapt. Like, if you look at all the decks that any player like myself or anyone has played over the years, like, you have to adapt. Like, you play completely different decks. Like, 2012 having Rabbit, 2013 being Dragon Rulers, 2014, I think, was Geargia, Bujin. There was still a version of Heretics, Dragon Rulers. It was all these things. 2015 was Necroz. 2016 was like Monarch, Burning Abyss, the Klee Stun deck. Like there was a lot of decks like that. 2017 was Zoo.
Yeah.
2018 was
What
I
was that?
can't even remember.
Necroz, I think.
No, 2018 was after Zoo. 2018 was
Are you sure? You're not sure Necroz wasn't the one after Zoo?
no. Because Necroz was 2015. I missed that.
Oh,
The only
okay.
way I know that is because I missed that format. But I remember
Okay, I couldn't
Necroz.
remember.
For the life of me, I can't remember what 2018 was. 2018. What the hell was I playing in 20? I think I remember going to nationals with like Alistair and like Wind Witches and stuff.
Okay.
I think there was still some form of Zoo. I just, for the life of me, I can't remember what it was.
Oh, you know what? You are right. That Necroz was before Zoo, because Necroz came out like right when they hit Dragon Rulers like dead, because Dragon Rulers were still able to.
Yeah, I just have to remember the national champions, and then 2019 was like Danger Thunder.
Yeah.
Last year.
Actually, and you want to know how I remembered that it was like Dragon Rulers were dead right before Necroz came out? It's because Imcol40 did a video on his channel where he was playing the Necroz deck, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna win," like talking shit the whole video. And then the other guy was playing Lightsworn Dragon.
Oh yeah, deck's broken, dude. Freaking Judgment Dragon all day.
He came back from behind. He had like no life points, nothing on the top deck. JD just, I'm back.
Blow up the whole board, exactly. Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "That's a thing." And then like a week later, they hit the Dragon Rulers.
Yeah. And then it's like, and then if you look at now, like there's so many decks you could play. Like everyone asks, like what would I play if I were to play in a tournament, like online or whatever. Like, assuming Dragoon Red is not legal, I probably still play Mech Knight Invoked. I'd still play like some kind of that or Shaddoll Invoked. They're both really good decks.
I'd play Dinosaurs.
Yeah, Dinosaurs broken. Dinos like just can go first or second, and like when they go first, they make calamities. If they go second, they just break the whole board and you die. Like there's so many.
Thing. It's just
there's so many things. Like I think that deck is nuts. Like, and with the new the jeweled alligator thing coming out, like they're just gonna get better. So.
Oh yeah. Also, I think it's nice kind of having a 1-for-1 target. You know what I mean? Like other than ELO. You know what I mean? Like I know that we could play the Dirac tuner, but like also, it's also this is a combo that people aren't really thinking about. But the truth is, like if you say you drew a ELO, right, and you had that monster, you could pop the ELO in your hand, and then you go get DD Crow, which is kind of a fun little, because DD Crow is actually just a fun little hand trap. Like a lot of people forget about it.
I love DD Crow. Like DD Crow was insane. Like because Johnny and I played Mech Knight Invoke for the UDS, and then both of us played it for our 3v3, and then James played Mystic Mine.
Dirty.
Yeah, he was that guy. His matches were over in like 10 minutes, but like Crow was insane because we didn't main deck Crow at the UDS, and I was so upset we did it just because I lost. So I got knocked out of the tournament round 8 by Lunalight. Like I lost to 2 Lunalight, and it was just like, had I had Crow in my main deck, like crowing their target for Tiger, crowing Zephyros, like there were so many plays where it was just so much better than like whatever else we had going on in our deck. But they were definitely like changes I wanted to make. Then when I went to go play the regional flight, I put Crow in the main deck, and Crow was broken. I played against Altergeist in the finals, and I crowed both of his manifestation targets. Like it was ridiculous.
Damn.
Like in matches it shouldn't work, it still works. Like Crow is that versatile. Like you need hand traps that are that versatile that can play against any deck.
Yeah, and truth be told, like DD Crow is just, it's kind of fun because what you're doing is you're waiting for them to activate things like Monster Reborn and that kind of thing, or or like for example, Avarice, Miscellaneousaurus. You're waiting for those things to go off, and then you're just kind of like, or like Oviraptor's case, right? Like I'm gonna pop a baby to bring whatever back.
Yeah.
You just snipe it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Crow is easily, in my opinion, one of the most versatile hand traps. The way I know that the card is still versatile is when Cody won with the Atom deck, he main decked it as well.
Yeah, it's fucking gnarly.
Crow is definitely one of the best.
I mean, like, and I play casual stuff, and to harken back to what you were talking about when it comes to like adapting, as a casual player, I will say this: I do have a competitive streak. I might play casual decks, but I do play my casual deck to win.
Yeah.
So the thing is about when you do that, the thing is you have to throw something new in there. You have to.
You have to adapt the deck as well to whatever format you're in.
Exactly. So like what I was gonna say is like back when I was playing Lightsworn, I got a lot of shit online for playing Fairy Tale Snow, but the truth of it is Fairy Tale Snow is what kept Lightsworn afloat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like when that card came out, like people started picking up Lightsworn again because we didn't have Snow back when we played the Ruler deck. Like the Ruler Lightsworn deck, based on all mills. Like it was all on mills, and you didn't have Minerva. So like this is what people forget is there was no Minerva. And even if you were fortunate enough to, because I was fortunate enough to have prize card Minerva when I played Minerva for as long as I did in 2013. So 2013, 2014. Even without it, like you could still play the deck, but like the deck was not the same. Snow changed that entire deck. Like it warped its entire like the way it used to play.
It basically gave Lightsworn the way I look at Lightsworn is it's a sword. All right.
Yeah.
The whole deck is basically I'm going to attack you. I'm going to banish your monsters. You know, like with Michael, I'm going to nuke your field. It's an offensive based deck. So its primary weakness in my mind for Lightsworn is it has no way to defend itself. So once it's your turn, if I haven't killed you, it's GG. You've got me.
Yeah.
And that's where cards like Honest, Electromagnetic
Necroguard was the
Fairy Tale Snow gave that deck the ultimate shield that it could ask for because it could flip key monsters down before you could make Xyz or Synchros or Links. So I mean. Also, that card
was just broken. That card was so broken. Like you had so many games that you just win off, going to battle phase, attack, still in battle phase, snow, attack for game, and I mean even if you didn't, like you could end on a 4 that would like interrupt them, like against a back row deck, you had Tornado Dragon, you can make Dweller when you're done. Like there were so many plays, like that card just warped everything.
Right,
like
so at my old locals, there's a guy, can't remember his name for the life of me. He's actually been on House of Champs' channel because he got like top 3 at one of like a Texas regional once. But I played at the same locals as him, and he was playing Blue Eyes back when it got its fresh support.
Oh yeah.
And I beat him with Lightsworn using
Fairy
Tale Snow.
Oh wow.
And he was just sitting there like, God damn fucking Snow.
No, that's what it was. Like
He was getting visibly angry with me, and I'm like.
Hey, people forget Blue Eyes was top tier in 2016.
Yeah, it was.
It was top tier. It won Worlds. The Worlds final was 2 Blue Eyes. I mean, it's just like.
Oh man, that's. I remember the actor who's playing Yugi. Like looks at him, he's like, "Well, it looks like somebody could win with Blue Eyes."
Yeah,
talking smack.
Of course, yeah.
Oh man, that was funny. I don't think that line was scripted either.
No, definitely not. It's crazy. Like if you look at the history of like what won Worlds or what won Nationals, like you look at all the decks, like it's so diverse. Like over the years, like.
And you really can kind of see like the evolution of Yu-Gi-Oh almost.
Yeah, from what it's gone to like what it is now, like. There's like a lot of decks are still around. Like Pendulum is still around. Like Pendulums can do so. If you really know, like I was saying on stream, like if you know how to play decks like that, if you know how to play, so there are some decks that I just can't wrap my head around, and one of them is Prank Kids. So Prank Kids is one of those decks that I just can't play, and I've had friends try to pick up the deck. They get some things right. I mean, I know some of the things if they're right or they're wrong, but the way like those chain links work with Prank Kids, like I was just like losing my mind. I was like, I can't play this deck, like. Like I need like a more like simplified deck to play. Like,
and I also think like for some decks you just have to have a passion for it. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Like I still can't get Rit Beast down. I can't do it.
Oh, I've never even played the deck, so I'm right there with. I never even played Ritual Beast, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, that deck.
Like the whole Counterhawk, banish, bounce back, and they had this loop. Like, oh my god. They have a loop,
so just like I don't know.
And then I look at players who are like online who are like, oh, we could bring Counterhawk back to 2. I'm like, no, you can't. Not with the new time rules. No, you can't.
Yeah, the time rules, I wish those would get lifted, but it is what it is.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm kind of thankful for it a little bit, only because of how annoying Counterhawk is.
Yeah.
But I was going to say is I'm going to kind of veer off of Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit.
All good.
We got sucked into that.
That's what happens when you talk to me. I can talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Day in and day out till Kingdom Come.
So, I know another passion of yours, and I know because every time you share it on Instagram, I feel like my waistline expands. And that, if you guys don't know, Slim here is a foodie, and
I should be so fat. I should be so fat.
I look at you and I just go, how? How does he eat this good and not look like me from the neck down? I look like Jack Black from the neck down, which is funny that I have like my gimmick as a superhero because I do not have a six pack at all. But, but the point is, I'm like, anyway. The point is like, you're you have another passion. So tell the audience a little bit about your passion for food.
So I love to eat. Like I just love to eat. Food is just so damn good. Like I can't help it. And I've been fortunate enough to like we talked about earlier. I've done a lot of traveling to a lot of YCSs, a lot of events. I've been to a lot of different places. I've also traveled to other places. Me and my girlfriend have gone to Cabo. We've gone to other places, and through her, I've been introduced to a lot of foods that I used to never eat, that I never really gave the time of day, but we've tried different things and tried different restaurants. Yelp became one of the most used apps on my phone for like finding good food places wherever you were. And like, that's just kind of how it is. And then I like to cook like here and there, like trying to learn
actually.
ins and outs of the kitchen and stuff like that. And, like you kind of get this real sense of satisfaction when you make something. So like, depending on what it is, like
or when you make something for the family and they're like, wow, this is amazing. You get that like, yeah, that's right, I made that.
You get that satisfaction. No, because like the other day on Sunday we wanted Korean barbecue. Well, obviously all the Korean barbecue places around here are closed, so we just did it at home. We had the meat that we had bought. My girlfriend set it.
Like looking at
she set it all up. Yeah.
Oh man, I was looking at your food. I'm like sitting there.
It was good.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Whoa,
so
I want to be roommates with Slim.
And no, it's just one of those things. I like food, and I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like I love trying new food, and I mean, you got to give it a chance.
That though, I like that you shared that because it's a lot of people I think forget that we Yu-Gi-Oh players are not just Yu-Gi-Oh players. We are other kinds of people.
It's true. Like we do other things like besides it. Like sometimes we're limited in our events. Like one thing I'll tell people that a lot of people don't realize is, okay, you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh event, you can look at it like a semi vacation, but at the same time, you're not able to experience the whole city you're in unless you're there like extra days. Like a lot of these European players that come over to the United States, they're here for like a long period of time so they can take in all the culture. They have those extra days to do that. But a lot of times, say you get to an event on a Friday or a Thursday, your time is so limited because there's pre-registration if you want to pre-register, and then Saturday, Sunday, you're pretty much wrapped up playing. And then if you make content like me and Johnny and Bordeaux, like anyone who does deck profiles, you're still there all day and you're there to do deck profiles. Like once you sit down in the deck people start coming in for deck profiles, you kind of got to get comfortable because you're not really moving because people keep coming in order. And I mean, you don't want to deny anyone their time, to have their deck featured. So I mean, you could be sitting there for hours. Like I remember one time we were sitting there for like 6 hours straight, like, and didn't even realize 6 hours had passed. Like you sometimes don't get the whole like culture aspect of visiting places. Like I know when I first went to Austin, Texas back in 2013, I went and ate a lot of just like crazy food with Kiko and whatnot. Like he was amazed of how much I could eat for being so small, like compared to him. Like, and I mean, we went and tried, like I had like I had like 5 sandwiches at the first place I went to. Like I tried like one of like every meat sandwich they had. And then of course the barbecue, stuff like that.
Jesus.
Had a bomb ass burger that was only like $7 with fries and a drink. I was like, this is ridiculous, and the meat was so thick. Like,
damn,
there were things.
How are you not a fat guy like me?
Yeah. I don't know. In quarantine, it may happen. I mean, I want to have like an at-home gym, to be honest, because I feel like we don't know when this is gonna lift. Like, I feel like it's gonna work out at home.
So speaking on the quarantine, do you have any like worries about the world as opposed like especially because we're in the United States, so I don't know how much you are into like say politics or anything like that, and I apologize if you see my Facebook page because I know you and I are friends on Facebook, so you probably see all my politics and all that shit. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I don't really touch the subject that much, but I mean I do pay attention. Like I know the like little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Like, with a lot of the negative stuff that happens, it just kind of depends.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to, like, go too deep into it, you know what I mean? Because, that's a quick way to annoy the audience. But but I was going to say is, like, so, as you know, our country doesn't really have a government-sponsored healthcare system.
Yeah.
We have a for-profit system here in the United States. So, being that our system is so different than most of the other civilized world, you know what I mean? We're like, or modernized nations, I should say, like in Europe and Canada and all that stuff.
Yeah, free healthcare.
Yeah, they have or at least I wouldn't say free. I call it like free at the point of service type of thing.
Yeah,
Like, because
yeah,
it's all paid by taxes, basically.
yeah. There's like pros and cons to both. Like I know
Yeah.
plenty of people in Canada, and they tell me the honest truth. They're like, it's good, it's good. Like don't get me wrong, but like there's still little nicks you're gonna hit here and there, even with
Well,
that. So
yeah, but
nothing is perfect.
yeah, no, and that's the truth. That is, you're absolutely right. Nothing is going to be perfect. It's just about at this point, it's just about trying to. I think, or personally, it's just about trying to be better than it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So even if we have to inch a little bit, I mean, yeah, an inch, I'll take it. I mean, I want the
Yeah,
mile, but I'll take the inch. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But
I
the
mean,
point that I was gonna say is ultimately the question: do you have any fears, being that our country is in disadvantaged in that aspect?
I mean, a little bit, but the way I kind of look at it is like, so I look at this like, if you take care of yourself just normally, like, there's a lot of things you can do. Like, I'm not perfect. Like, like, there's all these things, wash your hands, there's all these simple things. Don't touch your face. Like, and that's hard to do sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you just, it's a habit. But, like, if you wash your hands, if you take your vitamins, if you try to genuinely take care of yourself, like, a lot of times like you won't really have any of these issues that some people do have. And I mean, there are some people that unfortunately just don't have the best immune systems. There are ways to boost your immune system naturally, so there's a lot of things you can do. You just have to be willing to do it. It's kind of like we were talking about adapting to a deck. It's kind of like you need to adapt to the situation at hand. It's like, if you need to take more vitamin C, if you need to, eat more vegetables or do something
Exercise
that
in my case.
exercise or something that will benefit your health, I think you kind of have to prioritize it because, I mean, to be honest, I don't think you can really put a price on your health. I know that's kind of a touchy subject for some people because everything that's healthy usually costs. But I think like you're still better off prioritizing that over anything else because, I mean, your health is kind of like your lifeline. Like it's kind of like your life points. You need to keep them at 8,000 at all times, and
Pretty much.
when they start to drop, it kind of sucks. So I personally think that like. I mean, I have some like little small fears, like maybe like this changes the way society is. It's gonna change everyone's perspective. Like it might make it to where people are more like cautious to like go out or more cautious to be around people. Or that 6 feet of space, social distancing thing may be a thing that carries on even after this has passed. But I mean, it'll probably be a wake up call that hey, maybe take better care of yourself. But I mean, if like you were saying, if we even get an inch from that, like an inch that people will take better care of themselves, then I think that's better than getting nothing from it at all.
And
Like,
see,
cause
and then from my perspective on that, like I'm the way I'm looking at it is if we can get more, or at least get more minds changed to getting a system maybe more similar to Canada's. I don't want to do what Canada does. I want America to do its own version of that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So the idea is like if we get an inch closer, even if all that is just changing minds, you know what I mean? Then okay, then that progress has been made.
exactly. I mean, we need to just kind of just go bit by bit and just kind of take it day by day and just kind of see like what happens. But I mean, I stay pretty positive with everything, to be honest.
I mean, that's powerful, man. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of times, like I'm seen as a pretty positive person, especially on my channel. But behind the scenes, sometimes I get down, and but I'm you know what I mean. Like my whole thing on my channel is I'm a superhero, and the idea is like fun fact, Kid Ben back in the day actually wanted to be one when he was like a 5-year-old.
We all did, man. I freaking used to take what is it, the towels in the closet and turn them into capes and run around the house with my cape. So
I had action figures and toys and
same,
swords, all that stuff, and
yep.
And that's something I just, that wish of being that kind of thing is never really quite left. So unfortunately, superpowers don't exist, and even if they did, I probably wouldn't be lucky enough to get any of them. So,
But yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah. So instead, I've chosen to kind of be an emotional superhero.
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah, which is good. I mean, you can make your aliases, you can make like whatever you want. Like one thing I tell people, like depending on like who you watch or whatnot, some content creators, they create a character that is separate from who they are in real life, or they just do it because they love it. I mean, like I'm the same. You know this as well as I do. I am the same exact person when I'm playing when I'm on YouTube, like it's the same exact person. There is no, I don't have to put any effort into it. Like I don't have to change anything. Like I can't fake excitement. I can't fake stuff. Like it's very hard for me. It's very hard for me to like some things, like some ban lists really do trip me up, and people have seen that they see like, oh my god, they banned this. Oh my god, they brought this back. Like,
and then, yeah, it just demoralizes you from playing the game sometimes.
Like they saw like when Colossus got banned, they can literally see the point where my heart just broke. Like
no.
I'm like, you've taken Snow from me, you've taken so many things from me, and then I mean, I didn't even get to have one copy of it for Master Rule 5. I have 0 copies, and I was just like, you literally just killed like one of my favorite decks and favorite monsters. Like, how am I supposed to feel? Like, I can't fake that. That's the thing.
It's funny that you bringing that up. Like 2 weeks before then, I actually bought a Colossus from the reprint from the 10 online.
Yeah.
And $3. I was like, yeah, now I can start experimenting with Thunder Dragons. I've got one now. And then like 2 weeks later, they banned it. I was like,
yeah. I mean, there might be a time it could come back to 1, and I mean, I don't think it's bad. Like, people who watched Worlds for 2019, some of the players from Europe played Thunder Dragon, and you only had 1 Colossus, and you had 1 Colossus, I think 1 Hawk. Like, there was a lot of limitations, and they still made it work. Like, they still made it work, so.
But, anyway. But, like I was going to say is, like, I just wondered if you ever, like, and also you were talking about the heartbreak thing. You can tell on my channel, too. The thing with me is, though, when I don't feel it, you'll notice by how many videos I upload in that week.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So if
that's another thing, like,
that's when you know the content dries up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I still will make something for y'all.
Yeah. But I reduced the amount of videos I used to upload. Like it became more of like an effort to try and put out like so much content, especially if you didn't feel the quality was like top tier. Like to me, like I don't really try to put out more than maybe 2 videos a week, just because to me, like I want them to like have more. They need, so what I heard from YouTube is they need time to actually sit there and be found, sit there, be discovered, sit there and be passed around, shared around, like all those things. So for that reason, like I used to upload sometimes like 3 or 4 videos a week. They do moderately well. One would do better than the rest because a lot of times people would focus on one of the videos. When you upload maybe 1 or 2 videos a week, like depending on what it is, like it's gonna have more time to sit there, more time for people to manifest in like people's heads. Like, okay, let me watch this, and you're only giving them one thing, and then if you stay consistent with it, like 1 to 2 videos a week, they know what to expect from you, and you're like not like burning yourself out either.
Yeah, well, I mean, in some videos, I will admit I do feel a bit pressured to push them out a little more, like my Structure Deck Wars and this series, for example, because believe it or not, I know you requested to be on here, but I actually have a few other YouTubers who've been kind of eyeballing me to be on here. Most of them are smaller guys like me, but
Yeah, no, that's fine. Any kind of interview, kind of podcasting is always fun. Like it's really fun because it's different. It's different than playing the game. You get to see people from a different perspective.
Right, and like Master Swag King, he's I'm supposed to go on his channel tomorrow. So, well, tomorrow as of on the day we're recording this, because this. I
know. I talked to him too. He wants to do the same thing, so I told him when I have time, like I'll work with him on that.
And truth is, he's a really friendly guy. He really is.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, and you can kind of tell if you've ever watched, like on any conversation videos I've been involved with him. He kind of comes off as a bit antagonistic sometimes, and I think the reason that is just because I think people have been mean to him in his own comment section. I really think that's what that comes from.
He's also got a different approach to like how his channel goes. Like his channel is very different than like say mine. Like our channels are like night and day. Like mine is like super competitive. Let's build this deck. This is the deck I'm playing. You have to remember then Johnny and I travel to A, B, and C event. Like you're gonna see us on the battleground basically. You're gonna see us at the forefront of what this game is. Whereas like some people can't travel to every single event, so it's very different. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is I think that's the problem. Is that no 2 channels are ever going to be the same. I don't know any channels that are like carbon copies of each other. Like they may do similar things. Like okay, Johnny's like my main travel partner. For anyone who doesn't know, we plan out. Okay, we're going to go to this event. We were going to skip this event because like we weren't going to go to. So before any of this happened, we couldn't make Charlotte. We thought about Hartford, and then of course there was the event here in California. So we had already mapped out how we were going to do things. But that's because we're fortunate enough to be able to do that. That's the thing, is not every channel can actually do that. Like there's the age difference. difference. There's the, if you work or don't work, if you have extra responsibility, if you have kids, like there's so many different aspects that I think the problem is that they're not giving, like they look at a small channel and think, okay, you're small for a reason. Like,
and, like they don't,
but
they
I mean,
don't take into account like how old the channel is, or
exactly. Like you need to look at, like, you have your really, really big successful channels that work for casual players, they work for some competitive players. They have their niche that makes them like really big, made them blow up, made them do whatever. Everyone has their own distinct thing. But I mean, it's like, that's the thing, is like, like I said, no two channels are the same. So
I mean,
everyone needs a fair shot.
Exactly. And like you were saying, like even if you say like, okay, these two people do something similar, like what's his name, Glass, or not Glasgow, no, what's his name? Farfa. Yeah. All right. So Farfa does, and Farfa and Triff, to me, they have both have similar styles. But Farfa has like a very memey style, like he throws memes into his thing.
Yeah.
So even though they're similar, they're not the same.
Definitely not. Like they like Farfa is more like, he's more of like a Twitch streamer too, for a lot of people who don't know. Like he does a lot more on Twitch. He's there almost every day. Like he's on Twitch mostly. Like he's very successful on Twitch. I think he's the most successful Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber that became like a streamer. Like he's very, very good at that. Like he does that. Triff like started to get back into Twitch streaming and whatnot, and I mean, he's known for pendulums, and he's very good with the deck. Like his mind, the way it works, is like mind blowing. Like the combos he comes up with, because everyone thinks it's, you got your people that are for it, people that call it all horse shit. But then when you literally see how he plays the deck, and you actually understand, like, it takes someone who has just a very high intellect in this game to be able to figure that stuff out, because pendulums were already complicated enough. But I mean, when you add in all these other intricate steps, like, that's my whole thing, is like, everyone is different. Everyone has a different thing they bring to the table.
Exactly. And it also kind of harkens back to what I was saying earlier about how, like, you're very focused of the game of itself, and how there's other aspects to it outside of the game itself that you're still in the Yu-Gi-Oh realm. Like,
yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, and like also when you think about it, like Duel Links is like still in the Yu-Gi-Oh realm, but it's
so separate. Like it's so separate. Like I tried playing Duel Links like when it first came out, and I just could never bring myself to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I have it on my phone. I don't really play it very often, but it's like we were saying, like you're still in the, like, I consider anybody who's a Duel Links Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber is still a Yu-Gi tuber in my book. I don't care.
Definitely. They're just different avenues. There are different ways to look at the game.
It's like TGS Anime. He talks about the anime and manga aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that's something that's what a lot of people don't do, though. Is like, you need to look at, like, I use Doug as like an example. He touches upon subjects that no other channel will touch with a 50-foot pole. Like, he talks about subjects like why nobody would ever play the Egyptian god cards or the sacred beast. He would do a controversial subject, but it's a subject that anyone who knows Yu-Gi-Oh will watch. And that's why, like, he has, like, I tell him all the time, like, he found his niche so fast. Like, he does, like, Yu-Gi-Oh history, like past, present, future, like all these things, and touches upon things that, like, like, I'm not going to get up here and talk about, the Egyptian god cards. Like,
right.
I could talk about the one time they were super competitive. There was a time, a lot of people don't know, there was a time back in the day with the frog deck that played
they
hard.
Might very well come back.
Yeah.
They're getting support.
Oh, yeah, no, the new support is actually crazy. I played against them already. The new support is ridiculous.
I haven't actually had a chance to play around with it, so I don't know.
You literally summon... I mean, this was like the old play I used to see. They would summon Ra's Disciple. And people don't know, but you get 2 more copies of Ra's Disciple off of its effect. And if you have a God card, there's your God card right there. So, I mean, there's like a lot of... Yeah,
with the newer support, like the slime stuff that seems to... and the raw cards. I don't know what all they do, but who knows? If they're decent enough... maybe they could become competitive. So
I mean, they're giving them the option. So
yeah, I mean, it's the way I look at Doug is, like, I don't always agree with some of the things he says, but I also look at it from, if I truly was offended by it, which I just look at it like anything with Yu-Gi-Oh! When it comes to it, I'm just like, that's your opinion, man, and I just kind of let it go.
No, that's exactly it. Everyone's open to their own opinion. Like, everyone, like, some people may not agree with certain things. Like, there's certain things, like, even like in cards to play in a deck. Like, you might just, someone say, hey, you should try this. This card's really good. I'm like, oh no, that card's crap. Why would you ever play this? And then you come back and realize, oh, this card's really good. Like, like there's a lot of debate in different decks. Like, certain cards. But like I even tell you right now, like Johnny and I were even going back and forth. Like, do we play the Mech Knight trap? He was all for it. I wasn't feeling it. We went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Which Mech Knight trap? The one that's like haunted?
The secrets, yeah. We were going back and forth, and I mean, I was on the verge of saying we don't need that card. Like, that card is like, I don't feel that card is that good. And we made the argument, okay, we'll test it out, see what happens, see if you get any mileage with it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use this event as a test ground for it. So it did nothing for me in the UDS. Then I took it out of my deck for the regional flight. Then I tried practicing with it a little more the following week. And then I added it to the deck, and then we played it at the 3v3, and that card was one of the best cards in my deck. So you see, even
sometimes it's just the format, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes the format makes a card good or bad.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I was trying to hearken to with DZ's comment. So, like, a lot of people who and this is for the people who got mad at him, because I think it's really silly to get mad at him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the person who's like, when he did it was about Chaos Max Dragon. He was saying it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, it's only good in a vacuum. And I was like, if you're truly passionate about this card and you are truly offended by that, don't just leave a hate comment.
Yeah, no.
Prove him wrong. Go to
some people,
event,
some
find
people
the
are
right build and
just like
find a way to make it work. That's just what I mean.
My old roommate loved that deck. So I've played against that deck so many times. Like, and I'm gonna be honest, you're gonna get in these situations where outing it is pretty hard.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
but it's also like it's got its kinks in its armor.
Of course, every deck has a kink. Yeah, every deck
except for Dragoon, apparently.
I mean, so like to out it, like we were talking about this on stream the other day. We're like, okay, well, if you're fortunate enough to ash the fusion, you're good. Yeah. If you're but then the funny thing is, so people were like, okay, if you ash the fusion, can they still summon it? I'm like, they can. They're like, how? They're like, they make Verde Anaconda, they can still make it.
Yeah.
So if their deck can get that far that it can survive an Ash, a 1-for-1 trade, make a Verde, and still resolve it. Like, that's what's so insane to me. And that was back on what I was talking about. Guru. There's so many things to Ash in that deck that I'm saying,
you're never gonna get the right one.
Like, I terraforming, right? And he ashed it. Now, his thought process could have been, oh my god, he's getting Mystic Mine, or he's doing something, whatever. And then literally, like, with the ash gone, you're free to play fusion, and it's just like, the opponent is just like...
Yeah, it's also the same advantage with dinosaurs. Yeah. It really is, because, like, you don't, like... Alright, so like we're just talking about Ash Blossom. There's so many cards to hit. Oviraptor, Fossil Dig, Miscellaneousaurus, Terraforming for Lost World.
Yep.
Like, all of it. There's a Foolish Burial if you're playing that. There's, you know what I mean? So there's just... Ash is a great card, but you up against a deck that just has so much searching, it's kind of like... Or Heroes even. You're like... Well,
oh, Ash is... Oh my god. Like, to be honest, the only card I ever hit when playing against Heroes, if they're starting off, is the Fusion Destiny. That's like the only card I hit. Like, I learned my lesson early on. Like, don't just hit anything. But like you were saying with Dinos, like, what's crazy with Dinos is I don't think people realize like how devastating Lost World is. And I found this out the hard way. Like, people... I mean, I was guilty of this, but I didn't know, because my old roommate played the Dinos all the time, and he wasn't playing Lost World Dino for whatever reason. He was playing the Lightsworn build. When he finally switched over to True King Dinos with Lost World in it, I didn't know that if you have a token, you can't target anything. So, like, that little thing, like, it made me literally have to play a Link Karibo in my extra deck, because I was playing Guru when I was first learning it, and he's like, oh yeah, you can't target any of my guys. I'm like, what? And I had to read it again. I was like, oh my god, I need to play a Link Karibo to get the token off the board, because if you don't get that token off the board, or you don't link away with it, like, you're literally stuck, and then you just keep plussing off of the Lost World every single turn. So, that's the thing, is you have to...
And if you're not playing the Link Karibo, they could just keep throwing those tokens at you, and then eventually they'll just be like, okay, I'm about to do 5,000 damage.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, is like, you have to, like, as good as cards are, you have to know when to negate. You have to know, like, and I mean, you're not going to get it right every single time. Like, not every single player gets it right. Like, sometimes you get thrown for a loop, like... And
also sometimes people are going to they're just going to have the out to you. It doesn't matter.
Always.
I can't tell you how many times I've opened the nuts with dinosaurs, and somebody just has every freaking card in the game possible to tell.
Sometimes their hand's just better. Like, sometimes their hand is just better, 100%. Like, I have a game, like, I think I have a replay saved where I played against Cyber Dragons of all things, and this dude literally had the perfect hand. I'm talking about, he stopped every single one of my plays and then killed me.
Yeah.
And he
Exactly.
killed me through my counters to his deck, which is ridiculous. Like, I could not believe it. I was just like, but hey, I was like, respect on it. Like, he drew the hand, so I was like, respect on it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. You're
so
like, what do you do, man? You take your L and you go, okay, and you learn what you can and
that,
move on.
yeah,
So
no, exactly.
so one of the things I would like to talk about is like we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh and a lot, and I think that Yu-Gi-Oh has I think a lot of life lessons and a few
Yep.
misconceptions. So what are some misconceptions about Yu-Gi-Oh players that you have heard?
That all they do is play Yu-Gi-Oh. That's definitely one of them.
Yeah,
I've
that's
heard the ones that like they can never find a significant other. I've
which
heard the
is
ones.
totally not true. Like
I've
all of
heard.
us have
I've heard
dates.
the ones bottom dwell. Like you get all these just like messed up things like bottom dwellers. You've
Bottom
got
dweller.
like,
Hold on, bottom dweller. What is that?
well, like a
Explain that.
caveman, like
Oh,
kind of.
okay, okay.
So basically, they're like in quarantine before quarantine was a thing. I
Yeah,
guess the
okay.
easiest way to say it. Like they don't
Right.
do anything but that.
Yeah.
Then there's the other ones like, oh, they smell bad or they don't show. There's all these like stupid ones. I can go on and on. I mean, I think there's a misconception that like people say, oh, well, the game is childish if you play it past a certain age.
Mm.
Like, and I mean that just gets knocked out the window because I mean look at how many adults play this game. Like it's not
Or
even close. Like
or look at
unfortunately
Magic the Gathering. They're older than we are.
there's more adults than kids that play this game, which is a sad thing, but at the same time, like it's
I
just
don't know
fact.
about that. I don't know if it's sad. I think it's just
Competitive wise, there's definitely a lot more adults because some kids like just can't like grasp the idea of like how competitive it is if they're not in Dragon Duels. But I'm telling you right now, those Dragon Duel players are better than us. Like some of those
some
little
of them. Yeah.
kids will kick your ass. Like they have all the best cards. Their parents have helped them get all the best cards, and their kids are competitive. Like there's so many things that actually like go on. Like it's insane. Like there's so many misconceptions though. There's also the misconception, like I guess in YouTube world, that everyone who makes YouTube videos can't play the game for shit.
Yeah.
And
Which
I
is
mean,
ridiculous because
Johnny and I make it like our life's goal, like one of our things to just show you guys that yeah, we know how to play our decks. Like we're just, we keep coming up short at events. It's happened. I can't tell you how many times we've gotten so close to topping an event, and then sometimes you just lose. Like sometimes, like we were so close at YCS Memphis, both of us were one win away from making the top 32, and I lost to Jeremy Mitchell. Now that's a YCS champion.
mm-hmm.
I took that loss. It sucked, but it's like I lost and like okay, I'm out of contention. But I mean, it happens. Like you kind of dust yourself off and you say, you know what? Okay, screw it. Like
But I'm pretty sure like a lot of YouTubers have tops. I'm pretty sure don't you have a top or two?
from ages ago. Like
It's
I mean,
a
I
top's a
it
top.
really,
I don't care
it
what
really,
format.
the thing is too is like people like there's this could be a topic for a whole nother day. Is like what is considered a top versus what is not considered a top. Like there's a lot of different things on that perspective, but it's like it is what it is when it comes to that. Like you can be happy with your success with a deck, but then there'll be someone that'll say, "Oh, well, that doesn't count, or this doesn't count, or this." But the way I look at it, like, is every even if I top 8 or regionals or I do whatever, I look at it like, okay, I performed with my deck.
Yeah.
When my deck gets me an invite, I'm very happy. Like, Mech Knight Invoked has got me a ton. Like to this day, though, my proudest one is that one I was telling you about earlier was the World FTK, just because that deck made no sense to anyone but me, and I was the only person in the room playing it.
It's kind of like it's also the same concept as that Grand Soil Psychics.
Yeah, Jeff Jones, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He's the guy I quote all the time when I hear people say things like casual decks just can't win, and I'm like, are you sure about that? Because he took one new card and he took a casual deck, and look at that.
Exactly. No, exactly. I think it also comes down to the pilot. Like this thing is like
And
you have to
that's an
really.
interesting debate. Sometimes is it the pilot or the deck that's the more important piece of the
It's a
puzzle?
mixture. It's a mixture because like you can look at it like okay, if you're good with a deck, but your deck is not that. Say you're a good player, like you know all your fundamentals, you know your ins and outs, you know how to side deck, you know all this. Well, maybe the deck just kind of gives out on you.
Yeah.
But then say if it's on the other hand, say the deck's insane, but say you don't fully understand everything. Like perfect example, I was doing test hands with the Atom deck. And I'm looking at it and I only see one line of play. Well, people in chat who have played the deck way longer show me this whole nother route with that same exact hand. And here I was going to end on maybe a rank 4, 1 or 2 rank 4s, and that's it. And we ended on freaking Boral Savage, Appaloosa. Like, we ended on a much better board. And it's because you don't see everything. Like,
okay.
like there are a lot of instances, also with the Mech Knight Invoke deck. Like, I can draw a hand I can look at my opponent's board and I can say, okay, do I have the Boros? Like literally, the name of the deck became, do I have the Boros Sword OTK? Because if the columns lined up properly, if you're getting extra Mech Knights, if you're making cross sheep, as long as everything resolves, you have a way to Boros Sword. Boros Sword Makaba is game every time.
Right.
And it became kind of a thing of keep drawing your hand. Okay, can I do it here? Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, I got it. Okay, I didn't get it. Okay, what's my route of play now? Like, there are ways to find ways to win. Like, I even did it with Thunder Dragons on stream. Like, my opponent had, like, Winda. Like, Shaddoll Winda to play with Thunders is so hard because, like, you only get one special summon. Well, I happened to draw card destruction. So I set my fusion, card destruction my whole hand, and then activated fusion, attacked the window with Titan, and then played. Like, you sometimes have to go a different route.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is you have to know your deck. Like you could just hand it. Like, if you were to hand me dinosaurs, like, I know some of the plays, but I probably wouldn't know all the plays. Right. And, that's the thing is, like, you have to take the time to learn them, I think. And that's what a lot of people just don't want to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, also, I think and also to help kind of further your point there about Yugi tubers not being good at the game, I'm going to tell you right now, I've become a better player because I became a Yugi tuber. Because it forced me to play decks that I wouldn't normally play to entertain my audience.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to lie, I had no interest in Sky Strikers at all, and I'm pretty sure I didn't play the best version of the deck either. But I still learned some basic lines of play for the deck to give my audience, okay, here's the deck, here's some basic things. And it was just to give them a starting point, you know what I mean? For them to take it and go further than me, because I obviously wasn't going to play the deck. But that's the thing. But then when I started playing against it, because I knew those basic lines, I was actually able to put up a fight with decks that shouldn't be able to keep up with it.
Exactly. Like, you need to play a deck that you're not comfortable with, so to know its ins and outs. It's kind of like the same thing on Guru Control. So the funny thing is, okay, so obviously Johnny and I played Mech Knight Invoked at the 3v3. Well, guess what happens during one of the rounds? Him and I both, all three of the people on the team are all playing Guru.
No.
And I knew the ins and outs of that deck because I took the time to study it. So when there's this one intricate thing that people don't know, but you cannot summon Matrix off of Final Battle. It misses timing. And almost all of those Subterra players tried to do it. Now, I don't think they were doing it intentionally. I think they just legitimately did not know. But since I knew, it wouldn't have really changed the game state to where they were in a better position, but it still would have been an extra monster on board. But since I knew that interaction, I saw it against my opponent. I told Johnny, his opponent, I don't think it happened to James, but he saw it. And, like, we had to verify with the judge, but the judge explained it to them, and then that changed the game completely.
So just from you knowing that one interaction,
and I knew that interaction because it was told to me when I tried to do that. I tried to make that play thinking, okay, well, you said if I resolve a Subterra card, it comes out or whatever his wording is, and they were like, yeah, but it misses timing because of the way Final Battle is worded. And you see, I didn't understand that until it was explained to me. And then once you know those things, you can apply that knowledge. Like, now that I played against Guru, now, I played against Sky Striker. Like, you're mentioning Sky Striker. Yeah. I had the Sky Striker deck from the day it came out. It never became my cup of tea, but I played against it so many times that I just knew it. Like, with Thunders, I knew it. Like, they go first, okay, do their thing, okay, I gotta break their board, make a Colossus, their engages are dead unless they clear the Colossus. Like, there were so many things that you could do.
Had to top deck the Widow Anchor to get out of it, basically.
Exactly. Like, you have to step out of your comfort zone to learn a deck or to just play against a deck in order to know, like, okay, if I come up against this deck in the future, I know what to do. I know the matchup.
And here's the funny thing, and this is going to be, I'm going to give you the casual players in the audience a little piece of advice from a casual who actually puts up a fight often. Like, yes, I lose, but I don't lose very easily. I'll put you this way. I will guarantee you I will get to that game 3. And if I'm getting to that game 3 with my budget Dark Magician Tenyi deck, I guarantee you the guy at the other end who's playing, like, full power Zoo, Orcus, whatever, is getting real frustrated real fast because he had to go game 3 with a scrub like me.
Plus, I mean, one thing that people need to realize too is if you don't put respect on a deck's name and you play against it and you don't know what the cards do, you get punished. Like, I played round 1 of the UDS, I played against Plunder Patrol. And I'll be honest with you, here we are at the UDS, the last UDS. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be all meta. Round 1, my opponent does Plunder Patrol stuff. And I unfortunately had to take the time to read all the cards, to ask verification, all these things. And I did win that match, but only because I had to waste, basically, a lot of my time reading the cards because I wasn't familiar with them. And that told me, you know what, I need to research these newer decks because you need to at least know little bits and pieces so that you don't lose out to reading cards. Like, there's nothing worse than losing out to reading cards. Like, I was like, wait, what does this do? Okay, the normal summon's important. Okay, normal summon, okay, use Raijin effect to book. That changed everything. As soon as I started doing that in the later turns, I won. Yeah. And it was just because you have to take the time to read. And I mean, that's the problem, is that like you got to have respect for every deck because, I mean,
treat it like all of it's a threat. Treat it like it's all a threat.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care if they're playing like 2002 Beatdown. Treat it like it's a threat, because the second you don't, they'll whip out a modern card and you'll go, well, I just lose Lightning Storm.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, it's like, that's the way I look at it. I just put respect on every deck. And if I'm not sure what a deck does, I mean, I take the time to try to read the cards and I try to understand what the opponent's doing. But, I mean, you know, that only goes so far.
Oh, of course, because, like, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Has so many archetypes. Like, how could you possibly know everything that Yu-Gi-Oh! Does?
Exactly. It's like, you're not going to.
Yeah. I guarantee you, like Billy Brake, right? He's a renowned here in the States. Yeah. I guarantee you that even if he was still actively playing the main game, I think he's Duel Links mostly now, but
well, at least he came back for the UDS, I think. Yeah, he came back for the UDS. All right. Yeah.
Well, okay, so he's probably at least caught up to Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. But I'm just saying, but even to this day, he probably doesn't know everything. I guarantee you he doesn't know every interaction with Thunder Dragons, dinosaurs, whatever. But he would probably, but how could you? You can't. You can only know what's going to be the most played stuff in your area, or what's topped at the most recent events. So,
and then adapt from there. Yeah.
Exactly. So another thing that I wanted to touch on, since we're talking about adaptation, what are some other lessons you think that from Yu-Gi-Oh! That you've been able to apply to your personal life?
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is perfect for me because I'm like competitive by nature, but I've also learned, you know, obviously for every win you have in Yu-Gi-Oh! You have just as many, if not more, losses. Because I mean, let's face it, everyone loses. Like, it happens, and I mean, you kind of learn to take those losses. You kind of look at it like, you know, okay, this sucks, but you know, I'll learn something from it, and you can apply it to real life. Like, when something doesn't go your way, like in life, you can kind of apply that lesson to making it go your way next time, or learning how to better yourself from the experience. So that's one of the main things. Like, I'd say I probably learned from it. You learn patience too, because obviously it takes patience to learn a deck. It takes patience to build a deck. It takes patience to play against, like we were just talking about, it takes patience to play against a new deck, to play against a new player who maybe doesn't understand the game as much as you do, or vice versa. Like, you kind of learn like all different kind of lessons. And I mean, I think you learn something new every time, like you go to an event or you play in an event. Like, you learn something.
Yeah. One thing that has been a personal experience of mine, and I've always kind of been curious to know if you've ever experienced anything like this, is I've kind of experienced a level of bigotry in the game itself. And I don't mean like, you know, people's like looking at like say a person who's black and going, ew, they can't be a good player because they're black, which would be stupid in and of itself. But what I mean like is like, for example, a competitive player hears a conversation between like two casual players and they say something kind of bigoted like, oh my God, they're so stupid, or whatever, as an example, which is something I have experienced firsthand. I have literally sat across the table from while I was playing against somebody who was a very renowned competitive player, and I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to start drama. Nobody ain't got time for that. The point is I heard him and his friends basically, and this is when links were coming out, and I heard a bunch of casual players say that they thought that the game was going to slow down because of links. And I remember him calling them stupid,
saying that the game's going to get faster, right?
Yeah. And I was sitting there and I got kind of steamed. Now, I didn't say anything because, you know, don't get me wrong, when it comes to a bully, I'll pick a fight. I'm not afraid to get my ass kicked, especially for a good cause. But the thing was, I'm also not stupid though. It's one. But the point is like, I got really mad, and I just wondered if you ever experienced anything like that. And also, casuals have done it to competitive players. You know, they call you guys cheap and things like that too, which I don't like either.
I mean, I've seen it at locals mostly, like locals like that I used to play at, like not even like newer ones I play at now. Like I used to play at really casual locals, like, out of maybe the 15, maybe maximum of 20 people that would ever show up, the real competitive players, there's maybe 5, including myself. So there was not that many. But of course, for every, you only have that many competitive players, but then you have the players who play like decks that are kind of just off the wall. They don't make a lot of sense to people. And then you'll have people like having these heated debates. I see it mostly when people are playing. I think the most common thing I ever said is, why on earth do you play that card? Like, why do you play this card? It all comes down to personal preference. So it's just like, people will be like, oh, why do you play this card? And then like people will even ask like, hey, they're like, is this card any good? Like they'll ask your opinion, like even when you're playing, and it's just like, I think it mostly comes down to, I think it happens more for casuals than it does for competitive players. I think the competitive players are all on the same wavelength. Okay, we know this deck works. We just need to fine tune it for this set event. That's kind of how every competitive player goes in. It's like, okay, we know this deck's good. We know this is what we're gonna face for this whole tournament. Let's build our deck to beat that, or to give us the advantage against this, and we'll be fine. Okay. Their conversations are more in depth, like when it comes to the intricate plays that they can do. But on the casual side, it's so easily to just say, oh, why are you playing that deck? It sucks. Why are you playing this deck? Oh, it sucks. Like, there's some...
But I would take that as an opportunity to educate, not to argue.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, it just depends.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, and I'm just talking specifically about my specific experience, and just kind of wondered if it was something you've also experienced. So from you, you've kind of experienced the opposite, where the casual players are kind of dogging on the competitive ones.
I still see the competitive players. Like, some competitive players do say things, but I think they also, it really comes off how they're saying it. Like, they might actually be trying to help them, but the casual player takes it as an insult.
Right.
Like, they'll say,
in the story I was talking about, the casual players didn't even hear them. Like, they were off in their own little bubble. Talking, and the two circles were not interacting.
Okay.
But I was playing against this person because it was a locals tournament and it was our round, and his two buddies were up there talking to him while he's playing with me, and that's why I got to hear it.
I see.
And I'm over here kind of like, you're calling these, and he literally called them stupid. Like, he literally was all like, I'm like, that's where I kind of like, that's not constructive or conducive. He doesn't explain why.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh man, they're so dumb. They think it's going to slow down the game. And, I'm like, you didn't explain that. You just flung an insult, and I got mad. But I think I even quit the game. Like, I think I just quit playing with him because I was like, I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes people are just mean for no reason, and I don't get it.
Yeah. It depends, dude. Some people are too cocky in the game too. Like, that's why. Like, they feel like if they have a lot of like success or whatever, like with their tournaments and whatnot, they have the like authority to to say things like, oh, to disagree with someone's statement and here's why. And like a lot of times people throw their tops and stuff in everyone's face as like their proof, and it's like that only goes so far. It doesn't like solve like the problem, or it doesn't fix the argument that was being had at the first place. So.
Also, like, and I get the flip side of that coin too. Like, casual players shouldn't be so quick to get mad, especially if, like, for example, if you were questioning like, why do you play that card? You're not asking that question to be insulting. You're asking that question to get understanding.
Exactly.
So if a casual player ask that question and they get mad, they're like, because it's good.
Yeah.
And they don't give you any further explanation than that, then they're not playing it for any logical reason.
I think it comes down to like how it's interpreted too, because I've had that situation happen so many times. Like, like I at locals, like I would test random decks. I think like locals, one of the first places I took the Grand Maju Castle deck after it did well at the YCS, and no one had seen it. Like, not all these players pay attention to what's going on in the actual competitive game. So they're all there, and they're like. I beat my first opponent like really quick. It wasn't even his fault. He opened really slow, and I just OTK'd him game 1 and game 2, and he literally was just like, dude, he's like, I just lost to Golden Castle. And like, they're just having this.
He's kind of insulted by it.
No, and it's so funny. And I play his friend like 2 rounds later, and he's like, dude, that's the guy. He's like, that's the guy that's playing Golden Castle. And I mean, it's like they try to help each other out, but it's like, he's like, I don't know what that card does. Like, here's the thing is people don't read cards either, so it's just kind of like.
That's true.
And me, I just don't care. Like, I'm just like kind of spaced out when I'm at locals anyway, because I was like, I'm here to play.
You're on auto.
Yeah, I'm on auto. I'm just waiting to play. Like, I'm just trying to get my packs. I'm just trying to play, learn something. That locals is your best testing ground. It's just like, that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, it comes down to everyone's situation. It comes down to how things are interpreted. Because someone could say to me, why don't you play Golden Castle? And I'm like, well, you played in this deck. And they'll be like, why? And I mean, it'll create a conversation that'll go on for a while because every topic that's brought up creates a new conversation. So I mean, it's just like that. I'm fortunate enough. I'll be honest. I haven't had any really like asshole opponents like in the game in a very very long time. I have had them, but we're talking like 2012, 2013 is like the only like experiences I had that just like kind of blew my mind that players like that exist. But other than that, I haven't really had any issues. I've been very fortunate. I'm a knock on wood, been very fortunate that didn't really happen.
I think at my old locals that I used to go to before they closed down, and this was long before the current situation with the pandemic.
Yeah.
They just weren't making any money and they closed down. Mostly because of the location they moved to. But the point is that there were like 4 players that were regulars that were very toxic people. I know there was one guy, he would always give me shit for every little thing. The deck I played, the color of the deck box, my sleeves. This dude just harassed me all the time. All right, so if you don't know this, in Texas, it's actually legal for you to carry a sword on your hip.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. So when that law came into play, and I was like, oh, really? Because I've, I'll show you, and the audience will get a giggle out of this. Now, not this one, but I do have...
Oh, here you go. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, this one is my rusty sword, but I have several swords. I'm just in one of my other little hobbies.
Yeah.
But the point is, I could carry that in there with me, and I had this little short one that was like, it's almost a knife. You know what I mean?
It's like a dagger.
Yeah, it's almost more of a dagger than it is a sword. But I was like, okay, I can finally legally carry this, so I was like, I'm gonna wear it. And he gave me shit. And then like one time, I got like an eye. I had an eye accident where I poked myself in the eye. It was bad. And I had to wear like a bandage on my eye for like a week because I just, my thumb went in there. It was
right.
Anyway, long story short, that's what happened. I'm just lucky I didn't poke it out. Anyway, and he's over there calling me, Captain Ahab and all that shit. Yeah. He's like calling me Blackbeard and all that shit.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to people like that, same thing in the game. I look at them like if they're taking that much time to like insult and like say a lot of just like kind of derogatory stuff. It's like it says a lot about them as a person. Like that's how I look at it. Like I never let any of that get to me. Like some people like ask me that all the time. I'm just like, well, there's nothing to really get to. I mean, it's like we're all in the room trying to accomplish the same thing. At least I would think so. We're all just trying to play. Like we're all some of us are trying to win. Some of us are trying to get better. Like we're all there for like that's why like you're able to kind of just. It just kind of works when you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh event. Like everyone just kind of gets along with everyone just because of the one hobby we share. But like, I think that's one of the things I noticed. Like probably one of the best lessons I learned is like you can just get along with anyone that plays this game because you automatically are in a room with the same people that play the same exact game as you, and anything becomes a conversation starter at that point. Any card, any deck, anything as simple as, hey, do you got trades becomes a conversation starter. So that's why I really like the events. I feel like for people who kind of struggle like to make friends or to find their place, depending on like what age they're at, like you go to these events, like you'll find it. Like
actually, what's funny is I feel like I found it in the YouTube community more than anything.
That too, that too.
Like, and what's really funny is I was telling this to Invoked 101 and his partner is like this series has kind of been keeping me sane because for to be honest with you, like I live in a rural area in Texas, so there's like no one around me. So this is the closest I have to hanging out with buddies right now. Like my best friend won't hang out with me right now because of the whole situation.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's how I think. Everything is done. Like everyone is doing Skype. Everyone's doing Zoom. Like people are doing meetings and stuff like that. Because I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to stay home, and that's the best thing you can do. But that's why I fell in love. That's why I fell in love with streaming. Like streaming is like it's the same thing. It's like I'm literally playing like Project Ignis most of the stream. And people are just popping in left and right in the chat to just like talk about it and like have opinions on it. So it's like you get to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh and you get to play at the same time. Like that's kind of that keeps that as far as the game is that keeps my mind fresh on like what's still competitive in the game.
So. I also, it's like we were just talking about. Like I was mentioning some of my experiences with toxic Yu-Gi-Oh players. I'm gonna say that I'm glad, kind of, that it's just been my personal experience and it doesn't seem like it's a very wide scoping thing. I'm very thankful for that actually, because I would much rather it that the bad these. I know this is gonna sound really stupid, but I would much rather the bad things happen to me and just not happen to everyone around. You know, especially the people that I view as my friends. Like truth be told, I actually think of you and Tyler, like, and and Cy and Mio, like y'all are, and Joseph, Master Smacking, like y'all are kind of my buddies right now. So I mean, like I said, you guys have been keeping me sane.
Yeah, no, it's the thing is like I think the game connects people, like it connects you with people I don't think you would ever really think you would connect with before. But it's like again, you all share that common interest, and I mean that's what kind of gets it rolling. Like you meet like some of your best friends through the process. I mean it's just I think the game is all positive. For as much negativity as it has in some people's eyes, I think it has way more positive things. So,
or like with Zombie Queen. I don't. You remember her? I'm thinking you've met her.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Tori. She, like you were talking about the negative thing. Like one of the things that she thinks is negative is there aren't a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players that are girls, and I'm like, okay, but that's something that can get worked on, and that'll just have to be a group effort on that one. Cause,
definitely.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of a boys' club, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
Exactly.
It just kind of is by accident more than I think design.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I know you wanted to try to get, me when I get talking, it gets rolling. So I mean, we're almost at the 2 hour.
I wasn't even looking at the clock.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's so easy to just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh for hours on end. That's why I love the live streaming, because when we're on there, we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh from the minute I hit start to the minute I hit end. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was gonna say, I'm gonna just ask like a few more questions, and we'll get the hell out of here.
You're good. Yeah, I want to make sure people watch the whole video.
Right. One of the things is we talked about a misconception that like Yu-Gi-Oh players don't have partners. I obviously have had several partners. I mean, I'm sure you've probably seen my Facebook. I've had girlfriends come and go on there. I'm a flirtatious one. Being funny, guys, it's more important than being pretty. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, like I was gonna say, you have a partner, and I've seen her picture on your page. And she is, I'm like, damn, Slim, get it. I applaud it, man. Get it. She's a lovely looking lady, and I just want to say, how does she feel about your hobby? Does she have any commentary towards it?
She's actually very supportive of what I do, and it's a headache to deal with something like this, because you're dealing with someone who not only plays the game but does the YouTube videos. So I have to take the time out of the day to go record. I still got to edit them, the little bit of editing I do, and then there's all the traveling I would do to my events. And it became like kind of a thing. It's like it's a very big part of who I am, what I do. But I mean, she's been very supportive of it. Like it's also finding the balance. Like I think my hardest thing sometimes is like, okay, I have to realize like, okay, there's this event, but there's also this thing going on, like in like your personal life. You have to find that balance, even if it's really hard. And like sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes you have to deny events because you have more important things going on. Like that's the thing is, but it's like if you're with someone that supports what you do, doesn't have a problem with it, and just wants to see you have fun with it, then I think you're good. And I mean that's just kind of the thing. Like she already knew. Like I was on my phone, I was like, hey, I'm doing my interview right now. I had to do my live stream, But you have to find the parts of your day to make it all work. Like you gotta have time for everything. And I mean that's the thing. You learn how to balance everything. Like it's hard at the beginning, like because you're like, oh my god, all I want to do is play Yu-Gi-Oh, or oh my god, all I want to do is make my videos. But it's like you kind of have to step back and say, okay, well, I have other responsibilities, I have other things I need to do. So it's just a matter of like finding time for everything. And as long as you have someone that understands that, then I think you can it's very successful. Like it's like for anyone's significant other, if they're supportive of what you do, some of them go as far as wanting to get involved in it. Like it really depends. Like
Invoked 101 and his partner. She plays Yu-Gi-Oh just like he does. So so they're kind of lucky in that aspect. I think.
So I mean, it really comes down to it. But I mean, I mean, for me, I'm just very fortunate. So I can say that very much. I'm very fortunate, and I mean, it's just I found I'm still learning. I still make mistakes here and there. I still get her mad, taking too much time to do Yu-Gi-Oh related stuff. But it's like you just try to find a balance. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. Like you just try to find a balance, and I mean, it takes time. It's like learning a deck. It takes repetition. It takes test hands. It takes a lot of things to get it all right.
Falling into the potholes, so to speak.
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, no, it's very fortunate. So
that's awesome, though. I'm happy for you. I'm genuinely happy for you. I have not had that kind of success in my relationships.
Yeah.
Personally, when I mention I play Yu-Gi-Oh, most women kind of look at me like,
Yeah.
well, like I'm an alien or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I mean?
I mean, the thing is like biggest argument has always been like, we're guys, like we all have hobbies,
Yeah.
as some people play sports, some people
Hmm.
play Yu-Gi-Oh, some people go to the gym, some people go to locals, like
Some people are hardcore gamers.
some people are hardcore card players, like it's just everybody has their hobbies, everyone's entitled to their own hobbies, and
It's just ours is slinging cardboard.
yeah, exactly. So I
You
mean, it's
know?
just like it's just different. It's different. It depends on just who the person is. Like it becomes a test of is it worth your time or not. So
Yeah, and that's actually kind of a good way to look at it. That's some really solid advice for you to give just someone in general. If your hobbies are a source of contention, maybe that person is not the right person for you.
exactly.
Have you experienced that with previous
Oh yeah.
partners?
Oh yeah. Like when I left during Necros format, it was the worst time of my life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't ever give up your hobby. If it's something you're passionate about, no matter what the circumstances is, if you need to cut ties with someone or something that is just toxic and like really bad, like it turns you into someone you weren't before,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to drop it. That's the advice I give everybody. I missed all of Necros format. I didn't come back till Nationals of 2016. Like it was just awful time, and I would never wish that on anybody. So it's just like, yeah.
Can you, without obviously going into too much detail or names, can you talk about that experience a little bit? Like what was
Basically,
and this was with
basically
a partner, I assume, right?
yes, and it's basically like they didn't support the game at all. They didn't really care about it. The cards had no value to them,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously they didn't care. And it got to the point where it was like, they didn't want, they said, why are you playing? Like we have more important things to do, like blah blah blah. Like they were like, grow up, all this stuff, and like, it's like playing Yu-Gi-Oh isn't going to prevent you from growing up. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It's
Yeah,
like
I
not
mean, we all
possible.
still got jobs. We all still got to pay
But
bills, all that stuff.
but like it was just like they didn't want anything to do with it, and it kind of became a fork in the road. It's like, well, it's me or the game. And I mean,
It's like all those country songs. So ladies like me are fishing.
yeah. So I mean, in my head, I was stupid because I was younger too. So I was
Mm-hmm.
stupid. I thought, I can have it all. I can have my cake and eat it too. I can have both. I just have to put Yu-Gi-Oh on the back burner for a little bit. Little did I know that little bit would be, in my opinion, it was just too long for my liking. I
Wasn't
mean,
it
I
like
missed
2 years or something?
it was close to it. I missed a whole format
Mm-hmm.
that like I would have loved to play it. I would have loved Necros format. So and you say I just didn't get to play it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like you learn from that experience to just know that your hobby is just that. It's your hobby. It's what you do. You don't need to be embarrassed about it. Like if you're not with someone who can understand that and support it, like we were just talking about, then they're probably just not the person for you, whether you think they are or not. That should open your eyes enough to know that, okay, hey, if you can't support this, then I just can't have that in my life. Like it's gonna make your life miserable. Like trust me. So
Also, just so you know, I ask this to any Yu-Gi tuber that has a partner. These kinds of questions, in case you're wondering. I've actually asked Joseph, Master Cycling. He actually does also have a lady in his life. Obviously, I asked it to Invoke and all that stuff, and Tyler, and they've all given me very different answers. Like in Tyler's case, I think he mentioned like his partner just kind of doesn't care, but she's not against him playing it either.
Yeah. A lot of times it'll come down to like we don't care what you do, just balance it. That's all it is. All it is balance. Like to be honest, that's the best thing you can learn from it is balance.
Yeah, and I mean, and truth be told, it's also the same way around. Like I'm sure your partner has hobbies that you're not interested in.
Of course.
And it's all about, and you just have to think about if the roles were reversed. If she chose to do whatever her hobby is more than spend time with you, then you would feel neglected. So,
yeah, exactly.
So it's the same regardless, whatever.
You've got to see it through both people's eyes. Like basically, the best way I can say it. You got to be fair. You got to be fair. And it's just finding balance. Like that's literally the easiest thing. Find balance. That's it.
And communication. That's a big important thing.
Balance and communication. That's it.
That's the reason why my last couple relationships failed. It's just we couldn't communicate. The girl I had before now that I'm single, the girl I was dating, the one reason why our relationship failed is because we didn't have anything to talk about.
Yeah. So I mean, it just comes down. It comes down to certain things. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So,
and I'm just talking about this stuff because I feel like like I said, like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players or people think we don't date or we don't, we're all a bunch of shut-ins, which you and I both know that's not true.
Of course.
So the idea is to motion that out and let people know, hey, we're real people, and that's kind of the point of this whole series is kind of getting to know the guy behind the screen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a pretty good. I think that's a pretty good assessment. You might be the longest one actually, but that's okay.
I do talk a lot, so
no, it's good, and it's a conversation more than it is an interview anyway. So
exactly. Yeah.
And I think, let's face it, this is a lot better than interview with Slim.
Yeah. No, it's all good though.
All right, well, guys, I'm gonna do the outro, and then yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been Behind the Screen with Slim YGO. I hope you guys got to know a little more about Mike. He's a really nice guy. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like sometimes he's been my biggest supporter as a small Yu-Gi tuber since he's been on my channel so many times. I'm sure you're not the Yu-Gi-Oh superhero. I'm just saying.
Tell you guys the truth. I just want you guys to all remember one thing, and this is the best piece of advice that anyone who watches this, everyone who started a YouTube channel, is going to start a YouTube channel, is doing it. We all started at 0.
No, I started at -1. I had
but
just kidding.
like literally, we've all started at 0. Like, it's the same thing with my Twitch. I started with 0 followers, and like I've just been trying to pump it out, and it's like that becomes like my part of like the channel. Like it become a thing. Like you start at 0, but you just climb your way up, and you just keep going. Keep going. That's it. Like there's no reason to quit. Like so.
And if I'm gonna add to that a little bit, because I am somebody who actually did try Yu-Gi tubing a long time ago, as you and I remembered. We were talking before the roll, and I did quit for a while because I thought, I just don't have time, or it's not worth it. Nobody's watching. Let me tell you this, guys. Don't give up. You just have to keep trying something.
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's like, just because I sucked with a deck on stream yesterday, it doesn't mean I'm going to give up on it. Except Mermails. We ain't playing that deck. Like, I can't. I told my brother, I was like, yo, I can't play this deck, man. Like, this is your deck. Like, you're going to play it on stream. I can't play it. Like, I messed up. Like, I'm like, if I don't have an interest in the deck, like, I will try to play it. But after I lose like 5 times, I'm just like, I can't. Like, I'm doing something wrong. And if it doesn't interest me, I'm not going to do it. But when it comes to YouTubing, anyone can do it. Live streaming, anyone can do it. It's just, if you have the passion to do it, you got something to talk about. Like, just that's how everyone starts. That's how I started. I wanted to talk about you. I just turned on the camera and said, go, and just that's it.
Literally, so. Yeah, guys. Literally, I was there when you started. I was one of your early guys.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just that's how it starts.
He literally started. In case some of you guys don't know, he started. I think he was like, like what looked like a broom closet.
Yeah, my cabinet. So when people don't, the computer armoire, it just looked like a big cabinet. But yeah.
Yeah, but we literally thought you were talking inside of a closet.
Yeah, for real. So I mean, it's just whatever works, right? Like.
Well, guys, make sure you subscribe to Slim YGO, and if you're new here, maybe consider subscribing to me. I'd
subscribe to the man. Subscribe to the man here. I'll definitely have him over on my channel too. We always do content together. I hate to plug, but come check out my Twitch, like, because I love streaming. Like, streaming is like my thing. He's got the link down below. It's Twitch.
I'll have the link.
It's Twitch. It's I am Slim YGO, because for some reason I couldn't take Slim YGO. Don't ask me why, but it just says I am Slim YGO. So. It's over there. I stream almost every day. I'm going to be cutting that down probably about 3 or 4 times a week. But I'm just, we got affiliate within a week, and we're just trying to just go higher and higher, get to partner, do all of that. And I just love it. Like, I love it. It's just like this. It's playing the game online, talking to you guys, building decks, doing all this stuff. And I get to really interact, and that's how I get to know the subscribers. I think it's a fantastic way to expand your channel. So I absolutely love it. And hopefully I'll see you guys over there too. But that's pretty much all I got.
All right. Well, we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.